Welcome to the Sharpe New Year's special. Yes, it is a special show today. Noon? What is wrong with you, Larry? Yes, it is noon on a little bit past noon on the East Coast, and it's the day before New Year's Eve, so it's New Year's Eve. That's what it is. Yes, it's New Year's Eve. And we are chatting today about, I think, something that's very special. Many of you really enjoyed the Christmas or holiday season special that I did last week when I talked more about relationships and things of that sort, and a lot of back and forth and comments. And I appreciated the back and forth. It's a great time to think about relationships during the holiday season. Many of us see family, friends, think about past romance, past loss, things like that. Great time to talk about that. But now it's coming up here, New Year's. You might say, Larry, wait a minute, New Year's, it's just, a day for some of us to go get drunk or something, or whatever you might think, or just another day. I would argue that it is a great time to start thinking about personal change. The new year is the idea of new year, new you. Let's make some change in our life. It's a good trigger to make some changes in your life, to make yourself better in whatever way you see, you can be better. And we can all be better in some way, right? Everyone can. I talk about, brain, body, and bank account. Right. So any of those three, whatever you think you need to be working better on, now is a good time to think about that change. But of course, the response I get sometimes is, well, Larry, you should change whenever. Yeah, true. Right. But there's a huge but on this. And that is change is also social. There are also people around you, those who you work with, those who you love, those who you're engaged with in some, romantic way or family way. And they can help or hinder your change. They can. And having a trigger like New Year or spring or your birthday or something like that kind of makes it socially okay. Now, if you all of a sudden said, I want to learn Spanish or something, or whatever is the thing you want to do, you just all of a sudden said it, you might have people go, huh? Why? And you might go, well, Larry, why do I care? Because again, social matters. So if you go, it's a new year, and this year I'm going to learn Spanish, or I'm going to quit smoking, or I'm going to make more money, or whatever is the thing that matters to you, now's the time, right? That people go, that's great. I'm glad you're doing a New Year's resolution, or whatever they think it is. You have better chance of getting support, better chance of you feeling right. All these things are better because it is the new year. That's why almost every new year, I bug us, all of us, me too, right? I don't just point a finger at you. I point a finger at me too. I bug us in trying to make something better, something happen during the New Year's for ourselves. So I guess the point I mean is, I want us to realize is we all can be better. Of course we can. But once we start thinking about this, most of us, and me too, most of us will look back and say, yeah, but I tried this before, right? I tried to, I don't know, quit playing so many video games, or I tried to make more money, or I tried to, change my lifestyle in some way, and I couldn't do it, and I didn't do it, or whatever. Okay. What I want you to realize is you can't change the past, but you can try to change the future. Forgive yourself. And I mean that. And that may sound selfish in me saying it, right? But if you watch me, you know that I'm all about forgiveness. All about it, right? Talk about forgiveness all the time. All about it. I want to make sure that we don't only forgive others when appropriate, but that we also forgive ourselves. And you might go, well, Larry, that's easy to forgive yourself. It is not. The two biggest, harshest emotions that humans can feel are betrayal and regret. Betrayal is someone else letting you down. Regret is you letting yourself down. Betrayal is actually easier to handle sometimes because you can blame the other, right? She did this. He did this. Why did he do that? You can blame the other. Regret's hard. That's you. You did something that you feel you shouldn't have done, or you made a mistake, or you didn't make the step you were supposed to. So regret. I'm asking you to take this time today right now to forgive yourself. It matters. If you need someone else to forgive you, I forgive you. I hope that helps because I know you're human. I know I'm human. And I've made many mistakes in my life and I regret many of them. I have to forgive myself as I have to forgive you. And you should forgive yourself. And please forgive me too. So, this is a good thing for us to use this as an excuse, as a reason, as a time, as a way to almost clean slate to the best of our ability. Now, when I say forgive, as you've heard me say before, I don't mean forget. I don't mean be foolish and forget. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying just forgive so you can clean slate it and begin to move forward. It does matter. But once we forgive, okay, great. You've done it. You agree with me in this case. I hope you do. You forgive yourself. You forgive others who have betrayed you in the past, who you were trying to make better and didn't want to do it. No worries. So now the next piece is, here's your trigger. Now, when you hear people say all the time is, all right, Larry, I like what you're saying. We have to create goals for this year or a resolution and that kind of stuff. And I love those stories. It's great stories. And if you want to watch a video on that, that's an awesome video to watch. Be like, oh, I like the smart video. I mean, it's the smart goal and that kind of thing. These are all nice things. For those who don't know, a SMART goal is a type of goal. That SMART is an acronym. It stands for 5 things. If I can remember, S is, I don't remember what they are. SMART. M is measurable. A is achievable. T is time sensitive. Something like that. Anyway, it means something and it's nice. And you can just literally put in Google SMART goals and there'll be a video on how to do that. It's very commonly done. And that's nice. But that's not the key piece. The key piece, number one, before you go anyplace else, is some vision. What do I want to have happen? And usually a good time frame is either 1 year or 3 years. Anything past that's not realistic in today's society. Anything shorter may not be realistic either. So between 1 and 3 years, you decide. For the sake of argument, you decide, I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to look at 3 years. Let me cover the 3 pieces I usually talk about. Is this goal I'm trying to achieve? Is it brain? Is it body? Is it bank account? One of those 3. Those are the 3 biggies. I mean, there may be others, but those are the 3 biggies when it comes to fixing my personal stuff, not relationships. That was last week. This is personal. Are you going to try to make your brain better in some way? Learn something, learn a skill, think better, change your habits. That. Body, be healthier in some way. Take your vitamins, go for a walk, eat better, whatever's the thing. Put on muscle, right? Whatever, the body, that. Or go to your doctor, whatever's the thing for your body. Bank account. Am I going to try to make more money, save more money, start a business, take a second job, whatever. What am I going to do in those 3? You should think to yourself first, what's that vision? What do I see myself as? And more importantly, and this may sound crazy, what will others who you respect, whoever those people are, who you respect, what will they see you as? This is a critical component that people don't think about. So say you decide, it's going to be brain for me this year. I'm only going to focus on 1, not 3. And again, I made it up before. I want to learn Spanish. Okay, great. You want to learn Spanish. Nice. What are you going to think about yourself a year from now or 3 years from now? If you think it could take you longer, maybe you're not good at languages. You think 3 years before you have any real change. Or maybe you are really good at languages or you already have a basis on this. You tried it before. I think a year will be good. You pick. In this case, we'll say year. What are you going to think about yourself? But more importantly, what will those people around you that you respect, again, not random people who you don't care about, people that you respect, what will they think about you? And that's an important thing to really ask yourself. Will they go, oh my God, he learned Spanish? That's amazing. Will they go, it's stupid, nobody cares? What will they think? And I hope you have people around you who would think positively. I hope you do. I hope people who you respect would think positively of you. Say that out loud to yourself or write that down or talk about it with somebody and say, hey, I think people would actually be impressed if I learned Spanish. I think they would think this or that other thing, whatever you might do. Why does that matter? Because we, as humans, will very often disappoint ourselves all the time. It's very easy for us to disappoint ourselves. Very easy for us to make an excuse or a reason why I'm not going to do the thing and not do this. Oh, well, whatever. It's harder. It's harder for us to disappoint people that we respect. And no, I didn't go the random people on Twitter you don't care about. It's not what I said. People that you respect. Do they look at you and they go, he didn't do it. She didn't do it. Harder for you to handle that. So look for that. What were the people who you respect, whether they're family, friends, coworkers? If you respect people on Twitter, I guess, I don't know if you should, but if you do, what do they think about you? What are those people thinking about the thing you're trying to achieve? You might say to yourself, well, Larry, all that matters is me. This is only me. I would argue it's never only you, ever. It may be mostly you, but you care about, there's someone you care about in your life, family, friend, coworker, that you would like them to be proud of you, or them to be happy for you, or them to respect you, or something like that. Think about what that person will feel or think. This is going to help motivate you to want to make that next step. It's going to want to help motivate you to set that actual goal to move forward in whatever you're going to be doing. This part people ignore all the time. Then I don't want you, it's going to sound crazy, but I don't want you to timeline everything out. Why? It's a big task. It's a way of slowing you down. It's not what I want. I just want two things of you, only two. Think about that longer term 1 or 3 year goal. You decide what you will think about that, and what people who you respect will think about what you've done, assuming you make that goal either 1 or 3 years down the road. And then second, what's your first step? That's it. Nothing else. Those two things. That's all I want from you. Nothing else. You don't got to timeline things out, write down a whole list, nothing. Vision and first step. That's it. You do that, you're on the right road. But the problem is first step. The first step has to be crystal clear. And it's just literally the first step. So again, you want to, I'm making this learn Spanish thing up just because I just pulled it out of thin air. You want to learn Spanish. How are you going to learn Spanish? Are you going to use an app? Are you going to buy a book? Are you going to get an online course? It's $1,000. Are you going to hire a tutor? I don't care, whatever. Maybe you're wealthy. You can hire tutors all day. I hope you are. That's amazing. But whatever the case may be, you're going to decide. In this case, you decide you're going to go old school and you're going to buy a book. That's what you want to do. Okay, great. So what's the first step? Well, I got to buy the book. Okay, great. Is that the first step? How are you going to do it? Are you going to buy it online? You can go to a store. What are you going to do? Well, no, I'm going to go on Amazon and I'm going to buy a Spanish book, right? You decide that's your first step. Awesome. Set a deadline for the first step. And also, what is the specific criteria of that first step? Does buying the book mean you receive the book in your hand? Does buying the book mean you have clicked order? What's that mean? You know what it means? It means click order. Awesome. You decide that. When is it going to be by? Tomorrow night. Great. What's tomorrow night? And I'm serious when I say this. Is tomorrow night at 3 p.m.? Tomorrow night at 3 a.m. in the morning? Tomorrow night at 5? When is it? Specific time. I will click the order button on Amazon by 9 p.m. tomorrow. You might say to yourself, Larry, do I really need that? Most of us do. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're super cool. You don't require that. Most of us do. We require a specific thing that we're going to put through ourselves. I'm going to click the order button by 9 p.m. tomorrow. That and your vision are the two things you need to have before you try to make that change in your life. It's going to give you the best chance of success. Does not mean you'll succeed every time. Doesn't. Stuff happens in life. You don't always succeed. I get it. But you want to set yourself up for success. But I'm still not done. Once you've done that, now we're good. Now we're set. But now I got to not just have the cool goal, which is nice, the good vision, which is nice. I like those two. Once I have that, that's my basis, I move to the next level. What's that? I set up an environment of success. How do I keep it to where the odds are in my best favor that I will move forward with this goal? Piece number one. I want you to tell two people. Yes. Just tell them. Call them, text them, meet them, email them, whatever, however you respond. Twitter DM. Excuse me, I got a cough today. I apologize. Right? Whatever the case may be. So say, for example, you decide you're going to, call up people. You're going to call or contact two people, two specific people. someone who you love and someone who you respect. They may not be the same person. If you happen to love and respect this person, they go for one of them. And love does not have to be romantic. It can be. If you have a romantic partner, it can be. But it could be family, could be friendship, platonic love, doesn't matter. But someone who you love and someone who you respect. You're going to tell both of those the two things: the first step and the vision. That's it. And say, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you just like check in on me every once in a while? Maybe in a month or two, see if I'm still doing stuff. That's it. Why? Because again, you're human. The odds of you wanting to disappoint yourself, you could do it. You might disappoint yourself. But do you want to disappoint someone who you love and or who you respect? You don't want to. You've just increased the odds you'll actually do the thing. You'll take the first step. You'll buy the book or whatever the case may be. You'll do that thing. And then you'll start pushing towards that future. If you tell them the future and it's a year or 3 years out, if they care about you, they'll respond. Hey, how's that going? What are you doing? And you'll know they're going to respond. Just increase the odds. You'll keep moving forward. The most important piece on any goal is to just keep moving forward. That's the number one thing. Keep moving forward. Through all life, the things that life throws at us, you've just got to keep moving forward, which is why I just want first step. Because once I get first step, now I want next step. And I just keep next stepping until I get to wherever I'm going. This is the old 1 foot in front of the other idea. This is what 1 foot in front of the other means, right? This is what 1 foot in front of the other means. Just what is the next step? I'm not looking, now I'm going to be hanging out and speaking Spanish with my buddies or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. 1 foot in front of the other and keep going. That's what we have to work on. So I gave you the concepts in general, which I hope are helpful. Let me walk down, if I could, and go a little bit further down the road, if I could. I want you to change your environment and prepare for something important: failure. Because as you're trying to move down this road, whatever it is, you're going to have failure, but you got to prep for it. What does that mean? That means two things. One, knowing that certain things are going to be in your way. Certain you're going to know. You're going to have a sister who tells you stop trying, or a cousin who tells you you're a jerk, or whatever the case may be, right? Of course you're going to have that. You know that. And some of you're going to have your haters. Yeah, I'm doing air quotes. You're going to have your haters, and you're going to have them. And if you can avoid them, you should, obviously, but we can't always. Sometimes the haters in our life, we can't get rid of. Sometimes they're our family. Sometimes, they're our friends who we still love, but just have that dark cloud over their head. Sometimes they're our coworkers, and we got to pay our bills, and you got to still go to work, or whatever the case may be. I get it. So sometimes you can't avoid the haters. My point is, if you have to keep haters in your life, you know who they are. So prep yourself for the haters. When the cousin who you don't like and you've always had problems with since you were a kid, all of a sudden comes and goes, you can't do that, you're stupid, I don't like you, or whatever they say, you know they're going to say it. Prep yourself for it. How are you going to act? How are you going to act when cousin says something stupid? Know that now. This is literally called scenario training. When the bad thing happens, what am I going to do? Right? When I bring the book to my, to the celebration, and someone sees me holding a book, someone's going to laugh at me and call me names because my cousin is a jerk and always does that. Okay? You know that. What are you going to do? Prepare yourself for that. The more you prepared, the better you can respond, the more you can push through it, and others will see it, and maybe cousin will start to shut up because they realize they can't get to you. The haters are trying to get you to stop. The haters, that's what they do. Haters going to hate. You should know that. Don't be upset. Accept it and move through. When you can't do it, not because of the haters, but stuff happens. You're unable to do the thing you were going to do. You couldn't make that thing. There was a problem. There was an issue. I want you in your head to understand the difference. Understand the difference between an excuse and an explanation. There is no excuse. And I'm not trying to be mean when I say that. No excuse. There's explanations. Why did you not get it done, right? So I have made a rule that I'm going to watch a Spanish movie every weekend because I'm trying to learn Spanish, right? So great. But one weekend you didn't watch a Spanish movie. Why? there was a medical emergency, or something bad happened, or whatever. You got crazy, you got sick, or whatever. Something happened. You had to work overtime. You didn't know you had to, and obviously you got to work, and you couldn't watch the movie. Whatever. Okay, happens. But don't go, well, it's an excuse. It's fine. It's not fine. Don't beat yourself up, but say, okay, there's an explanation. I didn't do it, and the reason is my mom got sick. Okay, you had to go see your mom. I got you. I mean, your mom matters. She's sick. You had to go see your mom. You couldn't watch a Spanish movie. Okay, no worries. So now what do? One or two things. Scenario training, have an answer for that next time, or accept it as the new norm. Either one works, but don't make it an excuse. Make an explanation. Look, my mom got sick, and some weekend stuff's going to happen where people get sick, or I get sick, or something. I got to work, whatever. Okay, I get that's going to happen. So does that mean I have to have a backup plan? If I can't watch the movie on Saturday, I'm going to watch it Monday night. Is that the rule? Okay, no worries. Or no, I can do 3 out of 4 weeks. If I miss 1 week, it's okay. Either one is okay. It's not an excuse. It's an explanation, and let's fix it. That's it. No one's angry. Stuff happens. That's all that works. Stuff happens. We are all human beings, but not an excuse, an explanation. And now, how do I fix that? How do I make that okay? How do I prepare for that in the future? You can't think of everything. You just can't. Stuff happens. I get it. But the problem isn't that stuff happens. The problem is how to react to the stuff that happens. And we can do this. Absolutely. And we keep moving. And as we keep moving, here's what I promise. Here's what I promise you. If you keep moving forward, you will eventually achieve your vision. If you can keep moving forward. And if that was easy, everybody would do it, and I wouldn't be saying anything. What I'm telling you is simple, but not easy. If that makes any sense, right? The process is a simple process, but actually doing it is super hard. If it was easy, everybody would do it, which is why I want you to tell 2 people. Someone you respect and someone you love. Because now, again, you missed the Spanish movie this weekend, but you told the guy or gal that you care about, what you doing? And they went, hey, what happened in the movie last weekend? You go, you feel bad. Because here's what we often do. Well, I missed the movie this weekend. So, it's a good excuse. And, I don't have to watch it next time and whatever. And I don't watch it next time. And now all of a sudden I'm not watching movies anymore. And my entire plan falls apart. And now it's 6 months down the road and I don't know any Spanish. Well, I thought you were going to learn Spanish. Not an excuse. Explanation. Move forward. Tell someone who you'll be accountable to. I know people do all the time. I'm going to do this cool thing, but I'm not going to say anything until all of a sudden now it's doing good, right? I'm going to learn Spanish and I won't say anything until I can speak Spanish fluently. Or I'm going to, go to the gym and work out and get buff, and I'm not going to say anything until someone notices how buff I am, or whatever, right? Don't do that. That's a bad idea. That's not the right answer. Let people know you're trying to get buff if you want to put on weight. Good for you. I hope we all become big and strong guys and gals. I hope you all do that. Or you want to learn a language. Let them know. Let them encourage you. Let them get behind you. Make this social. It does matter. It absolutely does matter. All right. Let me move to some specifics, if I could, on each side. One of them is when you have, let me go to brain, body, and bank account. First, let me go to finances, bank account. I know it seems odd, but how in the world can you fix your finances? This is not investment advice. Let me be very clear. This is brain advice for your bank account. This is not investment advice. You have to figure out what is the right way you want to do things, your risk tolerance, all those things. That's not my issue. Not about investments, none of that stuff. Here's what I want you to do first. If you're saying to yourself, man, Larry, I am just not clear on my finances, or I want to make more money and my bank account's too small, whatever. If you're not happy with your finances, the number one thing you must do is just get a hold of what you're spending. I'm not joking. That's the first step. That is not the answer. Not the answer. That is the first step. Meaning you can't move forward until you understand your spending. That's the number one thing. When you understand that, now you can begin to move forward. Critical piece. You don't want to go, I'll get another job, or I'll work harder, or I'll start a business, or I'll start a side hustle. This is not the first step. That might be the answer. Any of those could be the answer for you, but that isn't the first step. The first step is seriously looking at where you're spending your cash. Where are you spending it? And there are apps you can use, there's software you could use, pencil and paper works, whatever. Why? Once you do that, and some of you who've done this know what I'm talking about, you will start seeing where your money is going. You will really get what you're prioritizing your cash on and what's working. You might go, well, Larry, then I can start saving. Saving is nice. I'm not against saving, but something for you all to remember, even for those of you who are less risk tolerant or whatever the case may be, you cannot save your way to success. Let me say it again. You cannot save your way to success. It doesn't mean you shouldn't save. It means that cannot be the only answer. There must also be some form of investment, whether that investment is in yourself, others around you, a business, a second job, time, but there must be some form of investment in some way, or maybe even invest in the stock market or something, or whatever, gold, whatever's your thing. I'm not saying, I don't know what that is, but there must also be some form of investment, whether it's in yourself or other things, or you're not going to be able to have whatever success you want. You cannot save your way to success. Again, not against saving, but you need both. You have to be able to make that investment depending upon your risk tolerance on what you can do. How much money you have. How do you figure out that? When you're looking at your spending, whatever that is, I hope you all have tons of money and have lots of extra money and you're spending on all kind of cool things. It's amazing. I hope you all are. But most of us aren't. Look at a monthly or weekly, but I would say monthly. Monthly is probably better. Look at a monthly account and ask yourself this question after you go down. Am I bringing in enough cash every month after my taxes and whatever the case may be to pay all my bills and have money left over? That's your number one question. That's the beginning before you go anyplace else. That's number one question. Can I go there? If you go, yes, I am doing that, right? All right, you have a good base to start from. You got a place to start from. Now we got that down. What if you say no? You know what? No, I'm going further into debt every single month. That's a different issue. You're in a different place. Now you might say, Larry, but I can't pay off my debt. For the purpose of this discussion and your baseline, the question isn't whether you're paying off your debt. The question is whether you're servicing your debt without going deeper into debt. Let me give you the difference on that one. If you can pay your credit card minimums and not go deeper into debt, you have hit just that level of, okay, I can survive. You're at survival rate, right? If you can go there. I hope we all can go there. Some people in this country cannot. I hope we all are at least there, that we can service our debt and pay our bills and not go further into debt every month. That's our hope. If we can go there first and we're there, all right, that's our beginnings. If we can't, we have to fix that first. And usually that aspect, that's fixed by savings. Not always, by saving and cutting back. Again, not 100% rule, but usually you can save your way to get just to parity. If you can't, we have other issues we'll talk about in a second. But generally speaking, you can do that. Now you're at your, okay, now I'm there. Now what? Why do I say that? Most people will say, and my parents were this way too. This was not the right answer for them, but they did it too. They were like, well, you know what? We need to get a raise, or I need to ask my boss for more money per hour. All those things. This is not the answer for you. It isn't. You're not going to be successful by just asking for a raise. Not you shouldn't. I mean, maybe you're worth more, ask for a raise. Awesome. But that isn't the solution. That could be one piece. This is the solution. The solution is, how do you make a world in your world to where more money is coming in every month that you can not only service all your debt, whatever your debt is, pay all your bills, but also begin to pay down your debt and have extra money to do the things that you want to do, whether that's save more money or go on a vacation or whatever's the thing you want to do. How do you do that? If your mindset is there, you're in the right mindset. Your mindset should not be in the mindset of, I'm only going to make X dollars per month or per year. I just got to survive month to month. To be clear, you might be in that actual position. I don't know you specifically, but your mindset cannot be there. Your mindset has to be, how do I make that second step? That's where your brain has got to be, regardless of where your pocketbook actually is, wherever your bank account is. You've got to move your brain towards, how do I make that next step in whatever that is? That's the piece you got to start thinking about. So now you spent your time in, all right, I got enough. I see where I'm spending my money. I probably should cut back here or there to make sure I'm at least on parity. Now, how do I make that next step? Should I be investing? Should I have a second job? Whatever the case may be. At this point, think to yourself, I've just seen how much money I'm spending. Now see how much time I'm spending. The key to having a bigger bank account very often, it's going to sound crazy, is not always where you put your money. It's often where you put your time. Yes, where you put your time. Right? Some people use a side hustle. They'll go drive an Uber, or they'll go do some other business like that. Will make so much cash. Why? They have more time. That's where they're putting their time. And does that make sense for you? Maybe. Does it make sense for you to learn new skills so you can get a better job? Does that make sense for you? Right? Does it make sense for you to spend time researching some stock, or so you're going to put somebody in stocks? Whatever. All right. I'm not trying to give you financial advice on what to physically do. I'm trying to put you in the right mindset to figure out what you should be doing and where your head has to be. Number one, you cannot save your way to success. Number two, one of the best ways you'll know how to become financially successful is where do you put your time? Time. I don't want you putting your time into things you don't enjoy. I'm not joking. I want you putting your time into things that you enjoy. Why? You'll do them better. It's that simple. Things we like, we do better. Things we're good at, we usually like. Yes, it's that simple. So if you hate driving, please don't be an Uber driver. That's not the right place for your time, right? Put it someplace else. If you love driving, that's probably a good thing for you to do. You'll enjoy it. You'll like it. You make more cash, figure out more stuff, maybe make an investment, whatever the case may be. Think about what you would enjoy doing. Think in your head, what would I do? What would I do if I had enough money to just do it for free? I'm serious. Think about that. What would you be doing? If you had enough money to do stuff for free, can you then do something close to that to make extra cash? That's a critical piece. Can you do something close to that to make extra cash? Is it possible? If it is, now you start to think. Should that be a business? Should that be a contract? Should it be another job? Should I get a secondary job? And if I could do it, is there something stopping me from doing it? Do I not have the resume? Do I not have the background? Then how do I move towards getting that? Maybe that's use of your time. You start doing this and thinking this way. And again, there's no way that sitting here, I can just chat with everybody here and give you the answer. Can I put you in the right mindset to make it so you have the best odds of finding the right answer for you? Yes, absolutely. Yes. If you start thinking this way, you will go through things and you will have failures and you have successes. And I don't care if you're 22 or 62. It doesn't matter. 42, 82. It doesn't matter. There's something you can do to better yourself if you want to, obviously, if you want to. Either your bank account, your brain, or your body. Guarantee there's something you can do to make yourself better. One of those three. The question is, what do you want? When we're looking for things, there are two things that often stop us. One thing is, I don't believe I'm worthy of this thing. Or two, I don't believe I'm capable of this thing. Those are the two things that hold us back. Sometimes both. I'd love to do this, but I can't do it. I'm unable. I do it, but I don't know anything. I'm unworthy. Well, here's what I would ask you. If you actually feel unworthy of something, how do you change that? By how you spend your time. If you think you're not capable of it, how do you change that? By how you spend your time. Right? But Larry, I want to be, I love football and I'm 50 years old. Well, odds are you're not going to be a professional football player at 50, right? That's a young man's game, right? You're not going to be a professional player at 50, but you love football. Great. How can you still get involved in that in some way that you enjoy, whether that's through you or through somebody else? How do you spend your time to make that happen? Are you going to be a professional fantasy football player? Is that a thing? Whatever. I made that up. But that's a side hustle that you would love, that you would enjoy, that you'd be part of, spend your time doing. Life is good. Keep your job. If you have a job, you keep your job and do that. You can do that at any age. Doesn't matter where you are. Well, I don't know enough about it. Well, there's your time to research that, isn't it? That's how you spend your time. So finding out to fix your bank account is very often where you're going to spend your time. Again, this is not easy, but it is simple. The concepts are simple. If your mindset is in the right place, you will begin to move forward and you'll push through the things and you'll make the mistakes and you'll have the problem. It doesn't matter. Again, I don't care how old you are. If you're 16 listening to this or 60, it does not matter. It is irrelevant. You can find the next step for you. And the best part about it is gaining purpose like this will give you confidence in other things you do. You'll be better at your relationships. You'll be better at your job. You'll be better with your parents. You'll be better with everything, better with your kids if you start to have more confidence here. All right. I kind of went off on the bank account piece, but I want a little bit further if I could on that. You want to make sure that whenever you're thinking about making a decision on your finances, whatever that decision is, fear is going to be a big deal. Always is. It's a big deal. And past failures, always going to be a big deal. They're going to sit in your head. Oh my God, I tried this, didn't work. This failed, whatever. As long as you're at that baseline that I talked about, get yourself to that baseline. That means whatever happens will not be catastrophic. Let me say it again. If you're at that baseline, it won't be catastrophic. But Larry, I might be here a year from now and still be in the same bad spot I'm in. Okay, it's true. Maybe. Will it be catastrophic? If you go, yeah, I'm going to lose my house. Okay, then you're right. Let's deal with that issue. That's why I said baseline first, right? Get to that baseline first. But if you're at that baseline and you roll the dice, you try the Uber job or you try to become a professional fantasy football player, whatever's the thing you do, or you invest in something or you start a business, whatever the thing is, right? Whatever that thing is, you try that. Great. And you fail. Worst case scenario is you're in the same spot. It's not catastrophic. But Larry, I didn't grow. You did. Even in failure, you grow. Even in loss, you grow. Again, as long as it's not catastrophic. I want to keep saying, don't put your house on the market and then go, well, good luck, right? Not saying that, right? Don't decide, I'm not going to pay my rent now. We'll see if I get kicked out. I'm not saying that. But as long as you're not going to the catastrophic level, you're going to even grow in failure. But more importantly, if you get back up and you try it again, you will feel better about yourself, and so will others. Now more people want to be around you. They'll go, well, Sam tried that thing and it failed. Yeah, but Sam's trying something again, and that guy doesn't give up. I think I'm gonna jump. Well, Sam, what are you doing? Let's jump on board together. What can we do together? And all of a sudden now people are with you going, okay, guy doesn't give up. He fell down, but he's still going. And it wasn't catastrophic. He didn't like lose everything. That's fine. Okay. Then that means I won't lose everything if I hang out with Sam because he didn't lose everything. So he got beat up. He lose. Okay, let's do this again. And you'll find more people wanting to get involved and you'll be motivated again. Remember, most people who are successful, not all, but most, have gone through failures. So yes, set yourself up to where things are not catastrophic and then move forward. Roll the dice to the best of your ability when it comes to gambling. Whatever tolerance you have, do that. Non-catastrophic. Keep going forward. Expect failures. They will happen. Expect haters. You will have them. And how do you deal with them? So that was a little basic piece on bank account. I'm happy to take more questions on that. People are going to be asking. Thank you for the chat. I'm seeing you guys in the chat. I will answer some of your questions too. Absolutely. And then want to move, if I could shift a bit to brain, which overlaps a little bit. If you want to learn something new, do something different in your brain, get better, either education-wise or something like that, all good stuff. The number one piece you want to think about is habits. Habits, habits, habits. Critical piece, habits. Two parts I brought up before, right? The idea of having what's the first step, and then the idea of having, a long-term vision. When it comes to things in your brain, I want to learn something, do something, go to school, whatever the thing is. Two things I want you to think about. What is the long-term value? And then what are the short-term habits I have to have? Long-term value and short-term habits. Those two things. So you decide, I want to go back to college and I want to learn something. Okay, great. What's the long-term value? If you go, well, I don't know. It'll just be good to have. Please don't do that. Please don't do something because it's good to have. That's not the answer. It's not impressive. You're not going to do it. It's distraction from your life. It's distraction. You're going to fail and just throw time and money away. Don't do that. Have in your head, what is the long-term value of this thing? What's the long-term value of getting another degree? What's the long-term value of studying a class? What's the long-term value of learning how to weld? What's the long-term value of learning carpentry? What's the long-term value of learning Spanish? What is that long-term value? If there's no long-term value, why are you doing it? Serious question. And long-term is up to you. It could be 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. That's totally subjective. Long-term is subjective. You decide what long-term is. But is there a long-term value? If there isn't, why are you gonna sacrifice the time and brain power in doing it? Well, my mom said, well, my friend said, that's not a good enough reason. They may be right, but if you don't realize it's a good enough reason, who cares? You're not going to do it. And that's the point. If you don't have long-term value, you are setting yourself up to fail, because as soon as something gets in the way, you're going to stop. As soon as there's one excuse, it's going to end. If you're listening to this, it's happened to you. Why? It's happened to us all. If you don't see long-term value, the second something gets in the way, you're, oh, well, next week, next month, next year, whatever. And it's done. And you're throwing away time and money and energy. Don't do that. If you see long-term value, now we're set. Now we're good. But the next piece, though, is what are the habits that will be required? So if you want to learn welding, I'm making this up. It's by the way, a big deal in New York State. Welding, everybody wants welders. So you decide, you know what? I'm going to learn welding. I love it. Good. What's the long-term value? If you go, well, I'm 75 years old and I'm probably not going to work anymore. Well, then why the hell would you want to be a welder? What's the long-term value of that? If you say, well, I'm retired and I want to build some cool stuff in my house and I'm going to need welding. That's long-term value. Okay, now that makes sense, right? What's the long-term value to you? If you go, nah, I'm just bored, you're not going to do it. I want to repeat that. Are you really trying to be better? You're just killing time. There has to be some long-term value in your head for this thing. You're 20 years old, clearly becoming a welder is going to have long-term value, obviously. But maybe you're in your 60s or 70s. Is it? Maybe you want to get back into work. Good for you. Maybe you want to have a side hobby. Maybe you want to start a side business. Maybe you want to fix your house up with some cool tools. Fine. Those are all things. Again, long-term value is subjective. You decide what that value is. But if you can't give yourself some serious, clear long-term value, what are you doing? All right. Now, next, what are going to be the habits required to do that? Are you going to have to go to class every week? Is that a thing? You have to build a bunch of things every month. Is that a thing? Are you prepared to deal with the habits that are required to make a change in your brain? Right? You should imagine in your brain, if you would, imagine your brain like and this is a very simple idea, but it's good for you to visualize. Imagine your brain like a forest, a jungle, right? And anything new I want to do, I got a machete and I got to chop my way through the forest or chop my way through the jungle. And that's how I got to chop my way through to get this new path in my brain. Imagine yourself having to do that. I got to chop my way through. Well, if it's too hard, I stop. I go, it's just not, I'm not going to knock this path down. Forget about it. I'm not going to do it. And you walk and you go back to the old path because there's paths through the forest that you've been using for years. They're easy. They're wide. Some of them are paved. Right? You just walk right down that path. It's easy. I've been doing it for years. I paved the road, walk down. But this new thing is a jungle I got to hack through. If I'm able, though, to hack through it once, it isn't enough. I just got to hack through a little piece, but it's still difficult. I got to hack through it again and then walk down it several times so that path eventually widens out and becomes easy to walk down. That's how your brain works, right? The more you walk down that path, the more you do that thing, the more that path opens up and eventually you pave it and it's all good. And the old paths eventually grow over and they cover up and the jungle absorbs them. That's how your brain works. Obviously, very simplistic for the picture I want you to get. Very simplistic. So what are the habits required to get that machete out, chop down them trees, and push through that forest so you can get to where you want to go and open that pathway up to where you're going down that road constantly. So now it's easy for you. Easy for you. Everything you've ever learned that you're good at now, remember at one point you were bad at, right? Whatever you're good at now, At one point, you were bad. Well, you did enough times. Now you're better at it. Now you're good at it, right? Of course, you walk down that path. People will often say, "Well, Larry, you're really good doing things live. You do everything live all the time. You're really good at it." It's not because I was born that way. I've been doing live stuff in some way, shape, or form since 2004. So it's 18 years of doing things live, whether those were trainings or classes. I had a radio show years ago, 2007 or 8. I've been doing this now in some shape or in some way for 6 years already. So I've opened up the pathways in my brain to where I do this often that the habit is easy to do. So now I just keep doing it. You should be following that same advice in the things that you want to do. Think of that, keep going. And I used to have a weekly show. Why? Because it forced me that was my habit. Every week I had to show up. I paid for it. I was paying for my show so I could have it. Why? Now I'm paying money. I don't want to waste my money, right? Yes, I was setting up an environment to where I was going to be successful. So I decided to spend money. You may or may not want to do that. Depends on who you are. If you're someone who, that's going to matter to you, spend money for it, right? Pay for the class, if that makes any sense, right? If that's who you are and you know yourself better than I do, then pay for it. You're like, I pay for the class. I'm showing up. Good. Then you should pay for the class. But if you don't need that, I'm not saying you have to pay for the class. I'm saying set yourself up to where you'll do the thing. You want the value at the end, no matter what. That's the goal. So if paying for it is a way for you to show up, then pay for it. If not, don't pay for nothing. Me, I knew if I paid for it, I would show up. So I paid for it and I showed up every single week and I would do a show every single week. That's what I would do. And it forced me in my own head. It gave me my own reinforcement to push through, to not have an excuse, to not have a reason. And sometimes I couldn't make it. But then I said to myself, I paid for that. And I didn't make it. I got to find an answer for this. And I would. And I'd find an answer for it. Everything I'm telling you, I have failed at and I've done myself. I want you to understand something. And I say this all the time, but I want to be clear on it. No way am I sitting here telling you, from on high, I know all these things magically because I'm super smart and I'm super good looking. Well, I am good looking, but it isn't the point. It's not the point. The point is, I have made all the same errors and will still make them, and so will you. Even if you take everything to heart that I say, you try your best to do every single thing I say, you will still screw up because you're human. As I teach this and I screw it up. We all do. The point is, can we keep moving forward? That's the issue. Through the pain, through the problems, through everything. So what are the habits required for you to make that change in your brain, to learn that language, to learn that new skill, to learn welding, to go back to class, right? If I'm going to school, am I going to have to take a weekend off every month to do homework and papers and stuff? Okay, but that's what I'm doing. I guess where I'm going with this is, don't just think, I'm going to make this happen magically. You have your vision, you have your first step, as I talked about earlier, and you keep moving forward, step by step by step, creating habits to the best of your ability. Changing habits is what your lifestyle is about. That's the brain. Let me go to body for a little bit if I could. You want to work out and get buff. You want the opposite. You want to lose weight and get skinny. You want to be healthy. You want to walk more because you're worried about your heart. Or you want to eat better because you're worried about, cancer or something. Whatever is the thing that you care about your body, right? Whatever that thing is you care about. You want to eat better because maybe you're afraid you're going to get diabetes or whatever is in your family or your worry. Same ideas are there. The idea is, what's the trigger? What's the long-term view? Same idea, vision. What will other people think of you if you achieve the thing? Can you tell two people, someone you respect, someone you love, for that kind of thing, of course, same idea. And then what habits do you have to build for this? Remember, when it comes to things like gym or diet or something like that, short-term stuff does not work. It's got to be a lifestyle change. Many of you know my story, that when I had a terrible 2010 and I was thinking the world was ending and I was putting on weight because I'm a stress eater. And if you're a stress eater, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't intake any other substances besides caffeine. So when I was stressed, I couldn't go to something else. I went to food and I was eating all my emotions. And if you're a stress eater, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I was in stress and I was eating all of the food. Give me everything. And I was piling on pounds. Of course, I think my world's ending. I'm packing on the pounds. So I thought to myself at that time, I can't do a diet because that's temporary. Do a lifestyle change. And because of me being a Marine, I thought, well, maybe I'll become a gym rat, be in the gym every day, right? And then who cares if I eat like a horse? I'll burn it off. I'll put on a bunch of muscle. It'll be fine, right? That was my first initial thought. I'll go to the gym every day, right? That's what I'll do. I'll become a gym rat. That'll solve my problem. That was initially my thought process. But then I realized something. While that's good, I mean, if you like going to the gym, please go. Gym is fine. Please do so if that's your thing. But I realized that I wouldn't be able with my lifestyle to make that happen easily at all. It will be a huge challenge when I wouldn't be able to get around and I'd find an excuse and I wouldn't go to the gym. And once I wouldn't go one day, then it's 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. And I knew that I would fail at that. So you know what? I'm not going to do that one. Even though I thought of that initially, being the Marine that I am, I thought of it initially. I stopped. I said, I need something that is going to motivate me, right? Again, because I was thinking same way. What am I going to be proud of, right? What am I going to be proud of a year from now, 2 years from now? What are you proud of? And what lifestyle can I make a change that is, simple, but maybe not easy? I like simplicity. That is me. And I think everyone should try to do things as simply as possible. I'm all about simple, not necessarily easy. Again, difference is simple meaning easy to understand, do 1, 2 things. That's simple. Easy means it can easily be achieved. Anyone can do it. I don't want easy. I don't mind hard, but I like simple, right? So I picked no or low carbs, right? Just don't eat carbs. Simple, not easy in today's world. Those of you who eat out, you know how hard it is to avoid carbs. They're all over the place, right? Bread and pasta and sugar. It's everywhere. So not easy, but simple. What's your diet? Don't eat carbs. Grossly simple. Is it easy? No, not at all. And if you haven't done the keto lifestyle, you know it is not easy, but it is simple. And I like that. I try to make things that way. So I did. And I was fanatic. I dropped a lot of weight and I made it a lifestyle. I'm still on it now. And this was 12 years ago. I've been in the keto lifestyle for 12 years. It's how I keep my weight down and I don't work out much, right? I have a relatively, chilled lifestyle. I don't work out much at all. I am active here and walking here or there and running, walking. I still do that sometimes, but I rarely go to gym. I go to gym maybe a couple times a year. That's how rarely it is. It's only when someone else is going and we hang out together, that kind of thing. So I'm not a gym rat at all, but I keep my weight down. I've chosen this as my lifestyle. I am not saying you should choose that as your lifestyle. Keto is not for everybody. It is absolutely not for everybody. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you should go to the gym every day. Not saying that. What I'm saying is, regardless of what you choose, whether it's to lessen your sugar intake because you're worried about diabetes, or put on more weight because you're getting older and you want to put on some more muscle mass, right, as you get older. Whatever is the thing you want, who cares? That's not my issue. My issue is you. What do you care? You want to quit smoking, whatever. The point is mindset. Mindset's the key. If your mindset is right, you can achieve the thing you want. And if you achieve the thing and you realize, you know what, that's not what I wanted. But I did anyway. Okay. Now you can go do the thing that you wanted. Body is the idea of lifestyle change. Lifestyle change is critical for anything in your body. Lifestyle change like no tomorrow. The longer you do it, you chop through that forest, it'll be easier. Brain is always habit building, habit changing. Chop down those trees, get down there no matter what. Bank account is, again, mindset change. But what is my future and how am I spending my time? Critical piece. How am I spending my time? All of them, though, have a common denominator, and that is early on you will fail. Early on you will not see the results you want. Early on you will not see things go great. If you're doing your bank account, whatever you're trying to achieve, it's not going to be right away. It's going to take time to figure things out. Changing your brain, learning something new, going to take time. Changing your lifestyle, being healthier, going to take time. Set yourself up for that. Understand it to be true. And the last piece I bring up in this case, reward yourself for small wins. Ceremony matters. And what I mean by ceremony, I mean you're going to have a grand ball because you lost 2 pounds. No, I'm not saying that, right? Or go out and have a party because you finished Spanish 1. No, I'm not saying that. But I am saying that any ceremony you do is going to matter. We are humans. You may think it doesn't affect you. You are wrong. It does. We are humans. Ceremony affects you. Whether that ceremony is literally, I put a star on my calendar every time I have a Spanish conversation. That's good, right? I go out and call my mom and tell her how awesome I am every time my bank account, every time I pay off $300 of my debt every month, that I pay $300 of my debt off. The $300 is the amount. I call my mom and say, hey, mom, that $300 gone from my debt. That's ceremony. Doesn't matter what it is. But whatever you're doing, reward yourself and have some form of ceremony when you've achieved the small victories. Small victories will eventually equal big victories. Imagine, if you would, I gave you the tree example. Your next example. For those of you who've had children in your life, whether it's a grandma, ma, niece, you have nieces, nephews, godchildren, whatever you have. If you ever watch the kids begin to walk, right? They start to walk. They fall down all the time. Get up, fall down, get up, fall down, whatever. You don't go, loser kid, you can't walk yet. Of course not. You act like the kid took 2 steps, and it's the most amazing thing that's ever happened in the history of the world. My kid took 2 steps. Clearly, Einstein means nothing because my kid took 2 steps. So clearly, that's all that matters in the world. Everything else is garbage. All that matters is my kid took 2 steps. I'm exaggerating, but you know what I'm talking about. You reward the kid. You praise the kid. You have some people take the video and put it on Facebook or whatever. It's fine. It's all good stuff. But the concept's the same. As the kid becomes better, you reward the kid with, hey, you're moving forward. The small step will become bigger steps and eventually become regular walking and running and so. You too, not just the baby. You give yourself credit when you make that one step. Give yourself ceremony and make it a ceremony. I did the thing. I get the star, right, on the calendar because I did the thing, right? Or I get to go out and do something because, I did the thing, whatever the little thing is, and you keep doing it. And when you talk to the 2 people who you've talked about, the person who you love and who you respected, tell them about your small wins. If their love and or respect is reciprocal, and I hope it is, they'll be happy for you. They'll go, well done. Jim, you did the thing. You passed Spanish 1. Look at you, man. That's great. And that will make you feel good. Because again, you told someone that you love or that you respect, which means when they respond to you, it feels good because you love them or respect them, right? Who cares if the people on Twitter or people on Facebook care or love? You maybe don't care about them or love them. But the people who you chose to tell are specific people who you care about how they feel, or don't tell them. Telling some guy or gal you don't care about doesn't help. You've got to take the gamble, take the risk of telling someone whom their opinion matters to you. And we all have people in our life who we care about and their opinion matters. We all have someone. I hope multiple people. I hope we all have multiple people, right? We all have someone in our life who we care what they think. Tell that person and have them go, well done. Don't worry about the cousin who's a jerk, right? The hater is going to be mad at you no matter what. That's, only Spanish 1? Psh, I did Spanish 2. Whatever, right? That's that person. Who cares? That person doesn't matter. The person who matters is the person who you respect, who you love. That piece matters tremendously. You work on that, you'll start moving forward. Let me grab a couple of comments. Got more I want to cover too. Pessimism, optimism, probability, like that. I'll cover that too. But you guys give me a bunch. Patty says, my resolution is to remember to write 2023. Yes, I think that's also good. I'm going to forget. I'm still going to be thinking, I'm in 2020, I think. I don't know. I'm with you. Absolutely. Zagro says, can I ask some questions? Of course, always. Why wouldn't you be able to? Of course, please. If you want to ask questions, please feel free. Whatever you like. Absolutely. Sam says, very inspiring, great advice. Sam, I hope so. Right? I'm hoping that when people see the way I talk about this, they understand how I think. They understand, even when I put together ideas or policies or thoughts or teams, this is how I'm thinking. And I want more of us to think this way. You might say to yourself, Larry, why do you care if people who are in your world are getting better, faster, stronger, better? Why do you care? Well, there's several reasons. One, I think we all should be, right? We're all going to be happier if we're achieving whatever goals we want to achieve. And how do I know what goals anyone wants to achieve? I don't know. But I know we all want to achieve things. That's who we are. If you're achieving things, you're going to be happier. It's how it works, right? This is human nature, not rocket science. We keep thinking that someone else is going to make us happy. Someone else is going to solve our problems. Someone else can do it. And they might, I guess, if they love you, maybe. But the odds are we are going to have to step up to trying to solve our own things, right? Can we help each other? We can. But Sam, I can't help you until I first help myself. Sam, you can't help anybody until you first help yourself. So let's help ourselves. And in the better place we are, we're better able to help others. We're better able to assist others because we have got some of our own stuff squared away first. Now, we're never going to be perfect. The idea of, I know that the idea is, clean your room. Yes, that concept is a good concept. It is. But you can be cleaning your room forever. Here's what I'm going to say. Straighten up your room. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to modify that. Just make it workable. You can always keep cleaning. I don't want you to be stuck always cleaning your room. Straighten your room up. And as things happen, straighten it up a little bit more. But once it's straightened up, go out and help others. So I'm just asking us to straighten up our room. So I hope that's clear. So Jim says, Larry always encouraging questions. He will give you a real answer. No doublespeak. It's true. I try my best, even when the answer isn't the greatest answer, and I wish I had a better answer sometimes. As you've heard me say 1,000 times, and I'll keep saying, I can have you angry at me. I can have you disagree with me. I can have you think I'm completely wrong. I can't have you not trust me, right? That's the harshest thing. If you guys don't trust me, we're done, right? Why are you even watching? You don't trust me anymore, right? So you can say, that guy's wrong. Oh, Larry, I love you, but that one you're totally off on. Or no, you're wrong on this, or I don't believe that, whatever. Fine, but if as long as you know that I'm coming from the same place, that this is what I actually think, and the more I tell you how I think, the more you hear my thought process, the more you know what's normal with me. You go, yeah, that makes sense. That's who Larry is. That makes sense. Then at least you'll respect me, and we can keep talking, and that's a critical piece. So John says, Happy New Year, Larry. Your reach goes far beyond the Empire State. Oh, thank you. Thanks for being a great libertarian voice and leader. You've helped my mental game, and your words are wise. Thank you from Florida. Oh, John, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And that's the point that's important, right? John said it perfectly. The mental game. It's a critical piece. You can be the smartest. You can be the strongest. If your mental game is not strong, you're going to suffer. And if your mental game's good, you don't have to be the smartest or the strongest. I hope we're all the smartest and strongest, but maybe we're not. If a mental game is there, you can see us move forward anyway. And the bigger point here is, though, happiness is different for all of us, right? Somebody's going to say, I want to be a bazillionaire. Someone's going to say, I don't need to be a bazillionaire. I just want to have a happy family. And someone's going to want all three, or whatever the case may be. I do think that the stronger we are individually, the stronger we can be as a group or everybody. And by the way, if you do like what I'm saying, then do me a favor. Click that like button. It does matter, 100%. If you click that like button, I do like it. So please do that if you can. And if you're watching on Twitter, then please follow. Shouldn't subscribe. Sorry, it's the wrong one. You should follow the Sharpe Way Twitter and retweet this, because this is only on Sharpe Way platforms, right? If you're watching on Twitter, please retweet this on Sharpe Way Twitter. Follow Twitter. If you're watching on if you're watching on YouTube, please make sure you're subscribed to the Sharpe Way YouTube page. And when you select notifications, click the notifications and subscribe. Select all notifications when you subscribe to Sharpe Way, so you get everything you want to get. I would appreciate that. It's also good. Last, I'm going to ask you, as always, head on over to theadvocates.org, the Hour Show sponsors. Take one of our quizzes, one of our surveys over there, and share them. It makes the advocates happy. It makes me happy. It's free, and it supports the show. And the glory about that is you take some time to do that. It's free. More people start having conversations. The more conversations, the better. That's why this matters so much. It's why I bug you on this every single time. It's why they're my sponsor, because I believe in it. The more we're doing this, the more we're having conversations. You have seen the people that I've put on this show from all walks of life, all areas, having conversations. That's what I want. These surveys and these quizzes, they're the ones that get people talking and having conversations. So please, when you have a moment, theadvocates.org, take any of the surveys. It's like 6 or 7 surveys. Take any of them, right? Take a survey. It takes about 6 or 7 minutes to take the survey. or the world's smallest political quiz, which is only about 2 minutes. Take that and then share it and get more people talking. It really does matter. So thank you for that, guys. All right. I'm going to keep going if I could. When you start dealing with goals for your life, whatever that is, making change in your life, some of us are more optimistic than pessimistic. Some of us are more pessimistic than optimistic, whatever, right? We're some more optimistic, more pessimistic. And people who are pessimists will always say, I'm not a pessimist. I'm a realist. You're not a realist. You're a pessimist. Just saying, you're not a realist. You are a pessimist. And that's okay. It's not a bad thing. Pessimism and optimism is not good or bad. Depends on what you're doing. America, sadly, has a crazy just obsession with optimism. And again, not that optimism is bad, but it isn't the only answer. For example, if you're a lawyer, if you're an engineer, I want you to be a pessimist. I don't want you to be a lawyer and go, that contract, good enough. You're a bad lawyer if you do. You should be looking down and going, okay, no, where are we getting screwed? What's the problem? Your pessimism, if you're a lawyer, is a very good thing, right? Or what if you're an engineer? I want you to be like, that bridge, it'll be fine. That's a terrible answer. I want you to check it out. What's wrong? What could happen? Could it fall? All the things. So in many cases, being pessimistic is a good thing. It's not sort of a bad thing. If you're in sales, if you're in branding, if you're in marketing, optimism's everything. You're going to be like, will it work? I don't know. Maybe, probably not. You're like, of course it's going to work. It's going to be a great product. It's going to be a great service. Of course. So optimism can be very good, and so can pessimism. But when it comes to, depending on what you're doing, but when it comes to moving your own life forward, you don't want to be either. What you want to be is realistic. Now, how do you become realistic, right? I'm realistic. Here's how you become realistic. By not looking at the best case or worst case scenario, but by looking about what's most probable. Now, again, I always take away the one thing, catastrophic damage, right? Once we're past the catastrophic damage level, right, there's always the floor. The floor is no catastrophic. I know I said it before, I'm gonna repeat it. The floor is no catastrophic. After that, all right, what's most probable? And how do I know if I'm saying that? Well, you probably know if you're more optimistic or pessimistic. You probably know. If you say, look, we look at the future, it could be great. You're optimistic. If you go, you never know what could go wrong. You're pessimistic, and that's fine. But if you are one, when you're making decisions on what your goals for your life or your goals for your future are going to be, get someone in your world who is the opposite of you. I'm very serious. If you know you're pessimistic, get that optimistic friend to have a conversation with you. If you're optimistic, get that pessimistic friend to have some kind of, chat with you. Now, here's the hard part. That person annoys you. So it works. If you're a pessimist, you tired of these stupid optimists living pie in the sky. They annoy you. If you're an optimist, hey, Mr. Downer, always talk about negative stuff. Person annoys you. I get it. You don't want to have this deep conversation from Debbie Downer or Mr. Pie in the Sky. You don't want to do that. But you need to. Let me repeat that. You need to. You need to have those conversations with those people because they're not you. And together you find reality. You do. You will find reality. You want to start asking questions like, as an example, if someone's very pessimistic, right? You want to give them a deadline. I'm serious. So if someone goes, yeah, but then this will fail, but that'll fail, but this will fail. Dude, I got 1 year to make this happen. I got to have an answer. I need 1 year. Well, I guess you could do this. You'll push the pessimist into giving you an actual answer and not just complaining on how bad things are. Not just giving you the downsides. You will push them. And if you give them a hard deadline, dude, I got to have an answer in a week, or I got to do something this year. I got to do something this month, whatever. Give them a hard deadline. Deadlines push pessimistic people into giving you answers, real answers. The opposite when it comes to optimists. Give them hard questions. Show them the real, what about this thing? And here's the thing about an optimist. I know because I'm one of them. I'm an optimist. Optimists, when you give them the hard question, will almost always blow off and ignore dodge your first question almost every time. So Jim says, well, Larry, what about this law? That's going to affect us. And I go, you know what? People get around laws all the time, blah, blah. I'll just dodge it, right? Because I'm an optimist. And we'll get around, don't worry. I'll do that. You, as a pessimist, have to double up on the questions of the optimist. You must simply repeat the same question. Larry, I get it, but what about the law? Well, law schmalls. You know what? No. Ask again. Larry, what about the law? Then I'm gonna say, you know what? Yeah. Well, why don't we try this? If you want to pull the optimist into reality, repeat the same tough question 2, 3 times when they dodge, because that's what optimists do, right? The pessimist, repeat the deadline because we can change deadline. It's bad. We can't do it. It never work. Repeat the deadline. The deadline for a pessimist. Hard question, hard question, hard question for the optimist. You have a better chance of getting good answers from people who care about you that will balance yours. Remember, because you're one, you want to balance yourself out to get something that's most probable. If none of that works, you will hear yourself, if you're an optimist, go, well, look at what could happen. You'll be thinking about the best case scenario. If you're more pessimist, yeah, but worst case scenario is this thing. You don't want to be asking yourself either of those questions. Once again, for clarity, once we're past the catastrophic stage, right? You're going to be asking, it's not about worst case scenario, best case scenario. It's really about what's most probable, what usually happens. What's the norm in this? That becomes your baseline of thinking what can happen next. So you want to start a new cool podcast and be the next, Joe Rogan. You can go, well, best case scenario with the next Joe Rogan. That's true. That's the best case scenario. Is that the most probable thing? Yeah, no, it isn't, right? Could it happen? Sure. Of course you could be the next Joe Rogan. Absolutely possible. But what's most probable? Not that. Well, I could spend all this time and energy and throw all my money away and I get sued. And you could. All that could happen. But what usually happens? What's the most probable? That's a key thought process in creating your goals for the future. If you're thinking that way, you will find more success in what you're trying to achieve, right? That's where your head is. Accept that you're a pessimist or an optimist. You're not a realist. None of us are. Find someone else who's the opposite of you and have this conversation with them. It does matter. It will help you to be clearer on what you're trying to achieve. I hope that part's very good, particularly if you have people who you love or you care about, whatever the case may be. I want to now talk about the goal setting piece. And I want to move to the habit piece. I cannot tell you how important the habits are. As I mentioned, the idea of the trees being chopped down, going down that road, that concept. Habits should be either daily or weekly. It's a general rule. And the habits can be as small as possible. Like I get up in the morning and have a cup of coffee and my vitamins because I want to eat better. That's a small thing, but even that. Small habits create bigger habits. I remember someone was telling me about a guy he was a friend of mine years ago. He was very worried about his health. Very worried. He was like, I don't go to the gym anymore. I'm eating too much. I'm not even eating well. The food I'm eating is junk food. He's like, I'm not eating well. I'm eating too much and I'm eating junk food. I'm not going to the gym anymore. And he was very worried. He's getting older and he just saw his health going away and he was very worried. He goes, got so much I got to do, blah, 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 so much. I said, dude, just chill. Focus on one thing. He said, what do you mean? I got all these problems. And I'm like, I'm not saying you're wrong. Okay, this guy had a bunch of problems. True. And some of us have a bunch of problems. But I said, focus on one thing. One thing. He said, what do you mean? I said, focus on one thing. What can you do? He said, what? I said, look, you just told me you're eating bad. He goes, yeah, I'm eating terrible. I said, well, do you have a lot of soda? He goes, man, I have soda every day, blah, 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 blah. I said, I have an idea. Why don't you stop drinking soda? He said, what? I said, stop drinking soda. He goes, I got all these. I said, just stop drinking soda. Just do that. You don't like it, you're drinking soda. You're drinking too much. Stop. Just do that. Don't drink soda. Whenever you go out, don't drink any soda when you go out anymore. Have water or coffee or tea or something. Don't have soda. He kind of thought I was like joking. I said, no, just do that. And he started. Now, did that all of a sudden make him healthy? No, of course not. He only stopped one thing. You're not going to all of a sudden become healthy because you stop one thing. But that was the thing he had to focus on, was just not having soda when he went out to eat. And he did. What begins to happen? If any of you have seen this happen before in your own life, you see it. Once you have that small win, you go, yeah, I stopped having soda. Okay. Maybe I should start now taking my vitamins or whatever's important in his life. I made that part up, right? Whatever the case may be. For this guy, actually, he was a gym guy. He didn't start going to the gym. That was him. He went to the gym after that. So he did a gym thing. He actually joined the gym, if I remember, like an Equinox or something. This is years ago. It was like an Equinox or something. He did something like that. So he started doing that. So he made the next step. And that's my point. Starting with small wins, small habits will fix other things. I told you my story about me going on keto. At that point in my life, everything was collapsing. I was having trouble with my marriage, with my business, with everything. With everything was in trouble at that point in my life. But taking control of the one thing I could take control of, which was in my case, eating carbs, taking control of that allowed me to take control of other things. It gave me the confidence required. As I said earlier, you'll hear many people, they don't achieve the thing they want to achieve because they believe in their head either they're not capable or they're not worthy, right? I can't do this, or who am I to do this? Either one of those things, right? We often feel that way. As we have smaller wins in our life, we begin to say, you know what, maybe I can do this. You know what, maybe I am worthy. And you might not think you feel that way, but if you're not achieving your goals, that might be in your head somewhere. There may be something in your head going, can I do this? I can't. Maybe I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. Who am I to achieve this? I can't do this. If you start having small wins, you start thinking, you know what, I can. I am worthy. I am able. I can do this. And you begin to move forward. So any small win, any small change in habit is going to help. It doesn't really matter to be forward what it actually is. In this case, by the way, when I was telling this, I pulled this out, I think, because I think it was after Bloomberg in New York City. He was trying to outlaw sodas. And so that was on our head back then, right? And I was talking about that. I'm like, yeah, I'll just do that, right? Because the sodas, you don't like. He told me he was eating poorly and eating fast food. I said, well, just don't order soda. Don't do that. Have water instead. I just made that up at the time because I wanted to give him something to do. He did it, and it actually helped him. And then he went. He's a gym rat. He loves the gym, so he can go to the gym. That's him. And again, not me. But that's how it started. I could have just said, go to the gym every day. He would have done that. He started thinking about that. He was like, I'm too busy. I got too much stuff going on. He had every excuse. Again, not explanation. He had every excuse to not do it. But then once he did a small thing of just not ordering a soda when he goes to eat bad food, which he was eating far too much of. Not that I'm against people eating fast food. If you want to eat fast food, you can. But I think everybody would agree too much of it's not good for you. So whatever. But he said he was eating too much. And again, this is subjective. Subjective. Do you think you're eating too much fast food? Then you are. That's it. If you don't, then you're not. It's subjective. But that's my point. He made the change. You should be doing exactly the same thing. Let me make another shift if I could. I know I went to the body for a little bit, back to the brain. Let me go to your bank account. When it comes to what you should be doing with your life, think to yourself if you would. What are 3 things in your life that if time and money and energy didn't matter, it didn't matter to you if you were in that spot, what would you do as a hobby? All right, what would you do? Think of 3 things you would do as a hobby, whatever that is. Maybe you like playing golf, and if you could, you'd play golf all day if you could, right? Or you like knitting, and you would knit all day, or whatever, right? Whatever. You like video games, play video games all day, or you'd watch baseball all day. You love baseball, whatever. I don't care what the thing is. What would you do if you could? And it wouldn't affect your lifestyle, but you could do it a lot. Think of 2 or 3 things that you would do. And when you do this exercise, write this down. Literally write it down. What are 2 or 3 things you would do? Yeah, I would do this. I would do that. I would do this. Okay, whatever. Write them down. Then ask yourself, what are some kind of professional skill sets that you have? 2 or 3 of them. Write them down. I'm really good at, I'm a good writer. I write technically well, or I'm really good at organizing things. I'm a good organizer, or I'm good at customer service. Man, I'm good at, taking things, handling things back and forth. I'm good at sales. I can sell anything, whatever, right? Whatever the thing is, whatever you think you're good at, professional type skill set. And then look at your life, whether you've been working for 3 years or 30 years, 60 years, how long you've been working. And think, is there a task or job that you gravitated towards, whether it was your assigned task or not? Did you always like going off and, I'm making up organizing things? Did you always like answering the phone, even if you didn't have to answer the phone or not? You always liked doing it. And when you had to do it, you liked it, you enjoyed it. Some specific task or job you always went towards. Write all those down. Seriously, I'm not joking when I say this. Write all this down. Just get it out. Right? You can type it if you want to, if you're really a typer, or text if you want to. But I think you should be a piece of paper and write this all down. And once you write it all down, then look at those things and say, in that mesh of things I wrote down, is there a business? Is there a job title? Is there a consulting gig? Is there a side hustle in that mesh? Does it exist? And if it does, how do I get there? Now I'm going to pull up some just stuff that people might like. I'm going to make this up. Maybe you love football. I brought this up before. You love football, and you love organizing things. You love organizing. You love football. And everywhere, when you went every job, you would always like organize stuff. Like you would organize the office, or you would organize, the teams, or you would do that because you enjoyed it. You would do that a lot. Is there a side hustle? Is there a job? Is there a business or a consulting world that you could do that? You could be in the world of football. You could organize and square things away in some way, shape, or form. Does that exist? Now, I don't know if it does, but now that's a challenge for you to figure this out. Is there a side hustle for that? Is this organizing things is it being, I'm making this up. Is it being an office management? Is it being an office manager for a professional football team? Is it for being an agent of athletic agents? Is it working in that field and being, an office manager there? Is that something you could do? Is it being a project manager for some software company that deals with the NFL? Is it that? And again, I'm throwing all this stuff out there. You should be thinking about this. And are these jobs you should be going for? Is it possible? Do you want another job? Do you want a better job? Should you be going there? Why? Because if you're happy with your job, life is good. What if you're not? What if either you're unhappy with what you're doing or you're unhappy with the amount of money you're making? Either of those two things, right? If you're in a good job that you enjoy, you're making good money, life is good, this doesn't affect you. I got it. No worries. But maybe you're not. Maybe you're thinking I'm in the wrong job, or I need to be making more money, or I need a side hustle or something. This is where you begin. I'm not joking. You don't want to be looking on LinkedIn or back in the day, the newspaper or online going, who's hiring? Who's hiring is the wrong way to move your life forward. If you notice what I'm talking about this entire day, what am I talking about? Not letting inertia run your life. I'm saying you run your life. Decide what are you unhappy about? What can be better? And how are you going to move that thing better? In this case, talk about your job. I'm not happy in my job. Okay. I just gave you tools to just start looking around. What's next? What's next for you? Do that and look around. What's next? How can I make this something? Is there a job title for what I like? If there is, now go on Indeed or whatever, LinkedIn or wherever you look for a job and see, let me find this job title. This is what I want to do. This makes sense. Now I see the job title and go, wait a minute. I don't have the credentials to do the thing, or I don't have the experience to do the thing. How do I do that? This is where you put your time. As I spoke about before, if you're going to fix your bank account, whatever that is, it is going to be based upon where you spend your time. Do you require a degree for this? Do you require a credential for this? Do you need experience for this? Do I have to intern for this? Whatever. What is the thing that's going to get you that position? That's where you spend your time until you get the credential or the degree or the experience or whatever's required. You start networking with these people. You start connecting them on LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever is the thing they use. Instagram, is that the cool thing now? Whatever. You connect them on those things. You talk to them. Maybe you go to one of their events if they have events. You meet with them. That's how you spend your time to make the better bank account. Your bank account is going to be decided by where you spend your time. So if you know that's the thing you want, the job exists that you would like to have, look at what you need to get that job, then spend your time moving towards the things required to get that job, you will slowly move towards getting that job. I know it sounds simple, because it is simple. Is it easy? Hell no. Of course not. Everybody would have a perfect job if it was easy. But that's the hard part. Start it now. Start it now, today. Or wait till January 1st, because that's a good time to start. That's a trigger point. I don't mind. Whatever. But start it now. Maybe you say, Larry, what I want to do There's no job for that. Or no one's gonna hire me because the job market for that is in Vegas. And I live in New York and I don't want to move to Vegas. Okay, so maybe you can't do that. Okay. Or I have responsibilities with my family or something. I can't go. Okay, maybe that's true. Again, I'm not saying the job is the only answer, but you won't figure it out unless you try it first. You look at it and go, okay, this exists, but I can't do it. I'm either not in a physical place or financial spot or family spot. I can't do the thing. I can't pack up and go. I got you. Maybe you can't. Okay. What kind of side gig can you do? What kind of side hustle can you do? Can you consult in some way? Can you do any of that? How can that work? If it can, awesome. Move towards that. That's where you spend your time. But Larry, I don't want to spend my side hustle not making any money. Why not? It's a serious question. What I've asked earlier in this stream, I said, what is the long-term benefit? That's what I've been asking for. What's the vision for the future? Sometimes to achieve that vision for the future or that long-term value, you get paid nothing early on. Yes. As I said, when I was first doing streaming, I was doing radio, internet radio, literally years ago, 2008, 2009, when I was doing it back then. I was paying the station. I wasn't making any money. I was literally paying. That was my education. That's how I learned to do this, is by paying for it. I'm not saying you should, but I said in my world, if I paid for it, I would show up. So I practiced what I preached. I paid to ensure I would show up. That's how I learned. You might have to pay for a degree. You might have to go to a school. You might have to go to a credentialing, board or something. You might have to pay for that. Maybe you do. But again, if you got your dollars right down here, not catastrophic, you're not there, you can move forward on that too. Maybe you should. Now, what if you can't do any of that? Okay. Can you create a hobby that could eventually make some money? That's the goal, right? Don't we all want to do the hobby that we would do anyway and get paid for it? Oh my God. Don't we all want that job? I hope you already have it, right? Imagine if you love woodworking and carpentry so much, you would just build stuff anyway. And now you're a carpenter. Life is good. You're doing what you love and getting paid for it. That's awesome. Don't we all want that? I hope we do. So this is a great tool for you to use to begin to move that forward. It's a great tool to begin to move that forward. You put everything on a table, you look at it and say, you know what? What's my next step? Where do I go next? But I go back to the same thing as I did earlier. Tell someone you're doing it. If you don't tell someone, it's something you did on Saturday and you never look back at it again. I don't want you to have this sheet of paper that you put down on your kitchen table or something, and then you leave it there. And 3 months later, go, oh, yeah, I remember that piece of paper. I was talking about stuff, whatever, garbage. Tell someone you're doing it. So they go, hey, what happened with that thing you talked about? You're going to be that, that football guy, whatever they think. You go, oh, yeah, I would do something. Yeah. The next piece I'm going to bring up. I hope I'm not giving you guys too much. I'm trying to. The reason why I wanted to go through this is I know some people will watch chunks of this. And I know some people will watch it now, kind of blow it off. But hopefully maybe next month or later on when they feel like they're in a bad spot, they'll come back and watch this again or listen to this again. That is my hope. That's why I'm throwing so many things at you, that you'll pick up the piece that matters to you most. And some of you have been through this before. You don't need every aspect. You need a piece of it. When you're thinking about what you're trying to achieve, whatever that thing is, again, brain, body, bank account, or any combo. Remember that people do things for 3 reasons. It's why we do things. 3 reasons. Promise of gain, fear of loss, or honor. That's why we do anything. You're watching this because either you thought, promise of gain. If I watch it, I'll learn something. Or if I watch it, I'll be entertained. Or if I watch it, I'll laugh. I'll gain something, right? That's why you watched it. Or you thought fear of loss. If I don't watch it, I'll miss something. I'll miss some cool info. So I got to watch it to miss something. Or you thought honor. Yeah, I like Larry. I want to support him. So I'll show up and I'll watch his thing. I'll do my dishes while I, put them on. Any of those are appropriate. It's why we do things, right? It's why you do everything. It's why you go to work. It's why you help your family. Either fear of loss, promise, gain, or honor, right? You either get something, afraid you lose something, or you believe it's the right thing to do. That's how people react. Why do I tell you that? Because when you start thinking about the goal you want to achieve, whatever that goal is, ask yourself, or if you can, have someone else with you. This is the value of friendship. It's why people use coaches, right? To be forward, many coaches are not very good. Being forward, excuse me. A bit of frog in my throat. Many coaches are not very good, and it's true. Some are amazing. Many are not very good. It's true. But one of the reasons why people use coaches is you can bounce this stuff off of your coach. Your coach keeps you accountable. That's why people often use coaches. If you have friends who can do it, friends are usually cheaper. So you can use friends if you want to. If you have family can do it, it's great. If you don't, a coach will work fine. But either way, you want to have someone who you can bounce this stuff off of, who you can go back and forth. In the best case scenario, you want someone who can call you out when you're full of it. That's the best case scenario, right? So when you go, well, I would, but this, they go, stop. John, stop. Come on. You're talking to me now. Don't say that. They're talking to somebody on the street. You're talking to me. I know you better than that, right? That's the best case scenario. If you have someone like that, that's the home run. It could be your spouse in theory. It could be your brother, sister. I hope it's somebody that you have. If you don't, coach is fine. I'm not against coaches, but someone who can do that for you is a very good thing to have. You want to ask yourself, what's the promise of gain? What do I get if I achieve this thing? And I mean this when I say this on a very selfish level. I really do. I mean this on a selfish level. What do you get if you achieve the thing? If you learn Spanish or build up more muscle or get a side hustle, either those three or whichever one you decide, right? What do I actually get? And I want you, as you discuss this, to be as detailed as you can possibly be in anything that matters to you. When you do this exercise, I hope with someone else, if not with yourself, being brutally honest is going to do nothing but help. So you decide you're going to learn Spanish. What are you going to get from it? You say, well, I'll get a new job. Okay, great, because some jobs now require you to be bilingual, and you think you can learn Spanish, so you can get a new job, or you can get promoted, or whatever is the thing you think. That's what you believe. You go, great. So what does that mean? Well, it means I'll make more money. Okay, great. What does that mean? Well, I'll be able to, impress the women when I go out to the club. Okay, if that matters to you. And again, we should be as honest as possible. If impressing the girls at the club is important to you, you should openly say that to the person you're talking to. I'm going to impress the ladies with my cool new clothes and my more extra money. All right, good. That's fine. I want to buy a new car, or I want to make some more money so I can buy something. I'm going to have a better apartment, whatever's the thing that matters to you. I'm going to go on vacation in Puerto Rico. Great. Whatever matters to you, you want to say that. Even if it's something that may seem small, like, I'll just feel like I'm a cooler person because I now speak Spanish. Okay, it all works. Honesty here is critical. You're going to, in your own mind, imagine what's happening. You're going to imagine the future in your head. You're going to link that success to that goal. You're going to increase the odds of you becoming successful with that goal. So really have that conversation with yourself or someone else. Have it. Second piece, fear of loss. What happens if you don't achieve it? What happens if you say you're going to learn Spanish, you don't? Or you say you're going to put on muscle and you don't? You say you're going to have a side hustle, you don't? Whatever's your thing. What happens if you don't do that? What's the downside? If there's no downside, are you really motivated? Is this really a goal you want? Or is there an actual downside? If I don't get the side hustle, and I deal with my crazy boss forever, and I hate my boss, and I can't stand her. She's a terrible boss. Okay, so what's going to happen then? And I mean, walk down this road. Well, I'm not going to get promoted because I'm always sassing her. She's always sassing me. Eventually, I'm probably going to quit anyway. Okay, so this side hustle matters. So if you don't get this side hustle, you're going to be miserable at work, and you're probably going to quit or get fired. Yeah. Okay, that's the downside, right? What if I don't learn Spanish? Well, I'm never going to get the promotion I want, right? And I can't impress the girls at the club now. I'm not going to get a girlfriend, whatever. Say what you think. This is going to matter. And I'm telling you, if you link this to that fear of loss and that promise of gain, you are increasing the odds you'll do the thing and that you'll push through. Because the most important piece of anything that you're going to try to achieve in your life is pushing through the failures and the obstacles. We are taught in the Marine Corps that obstacles don't stop you. They just slow you down. And you got to think about that. An obstacle is not a barrier that will stop you from going there. It will just slow you down, right? They've put, barricades on the beach. Doesn't mean I can't hit the beach and get past them, but now I'm gonna be slowed down because I gotta blow those barricades up, fight my way through. Okay, I'm slow. I'm slown. That's true. Slowed. Am I slown or slowed? I'm slowed. Is that right? Whichever. I won't be as fast. There we go. I won't be as fast, but I'm still moving forward. Will you move past these obstacles? Having this fear of loss and promise of gain in your head is going to assist you in moving forward. That's why you walk down this road and do these things. You might go, Larry, you were spending a lot of time talking about things to do to get you in the right mindset to talk about goals. You always talk about the goal itself at all. Yes, because the goal is secondary. Anybody can set goals. Anybody can. I'm going to, I don't know, own Facebook next week. That's a nice goal, but it doesn't mean anything until I can set myself up, particularly in my head, to make something happen. And if the habit's required, maybe I do want to own some massive social media site. Okay, great. All right. Walk down all the roads I talked about. That by next week, you have an actual idea of what you're doing and a goal at the end and a first step. You got a shot now. Otherwise, you're just talking trash, which is fine if you want to talk trash, right? I do it too, right? When the lotto here is like $1 billion, I literally go across the street. I live in Queens. I go across the street where I'll get my lotto whenever it's like a whole bunch of money. And there'll also be people in the deli across the street all buying lotto, right? Because we all want to be billionaires, whatever. So it's awesome. And we all start talking trash. I'm going to buy an island. I'm going to start a school. I'm going to do a charity. And everyone's talking trash. And that's fun and that's entertaining. And I love it. And I do it every time because I do enjoy it. That's fun talking trash. But that's not goal setting. That's having fun and talking trash. I like that. And I do it. And I'm okay with that. But please don't think that talking trash and setting random goals is actually moving yourself forward. It's not. This stuff I'm talking about actually is. So I talked about the promise of gain. I talked about the fear of loss. Now I want to talk about the idea of honor. If you achieve the thing that you want to achieve, again, I'm making these things up for the sake of argument. Whatever you want, I get the side hustle, I put on the muscle, and or I learn Spanish. What are those three things I decide to do? If I do them, what will others feel? Who is affected by this? Who is affected positively by this? Do I have a girlfriend? She's gonna be happy that I learned Spanish because her family speaks Spanish because my girlfriend happens to be Hispanic. Okay, that's good. She's gonna be happy now that I can talk to her parents. Is my wife gonna be happy because I make more money now? Right? Is that a thing? Right? Is it gonna make her happy? Right? Are my parents gonna be happy, proud of me because now I have a side hustle. I'm starting my own business. Is that an issue? Right? Will my parents be proud of me? What will other people in my life, again, who I either respect or I love? There's the key. Not random people that you respect or people that you love. What's their benefit? What do they get from this? Is it a warm, fuzzy feeling? Are you going to physically give your parents more money because you make so much money? Is that going to happen? What's going to happen? Who's going to feel better or gain something else other than yourself? Gain something other than you? Is there someone else who gains something? If they do, talk about it. Yeah, they'll gain something. Great. So this is not just for you then. This goal isn't only for you. It is also for someone else. Note the common themes in everything I'm talking about. All the things I'm talking about are linking you to the people around you, linking you to the community that you care about. The more you're linked to these things, the higher chance you have of success. You increase your odds. Doesn't mean again, this is not magic. You don't automatically become the thing, but it increases the odds. Also something else. If you begin to fall down and make a mistake and screw up, now your community has a reason to step up and go, hey, dude, what are you doing? Hey, what are you doing? How can we fix this? How can I help? What can I do? And the best part about falling down, and some of you learned this the hard way, I know I have, is when you fall down, you start seeing who's really there for you, right? Who are the people who are really there for you? And who are the people who, maybe not so much. Maybe not so much. What I can guarantee you is when you're at your lowest, if you think of 5 people who would never, never turn you down, who would always be there for you. Some of those people you're going to be disappointed in. Think of 5 people who would never show up. They don't care about you. You'll be surprised. There'll be some people who you never thought would show up who will, and some people who you were sure would show up who won't. But anyway, you'll begin to find that out also. So that's why you want to ask those questions. The opposite side. Who is harmed if I don't do this? Does someone else lose something besides me? Obviously, I lose something. I didn't do it, right? I didn't achieve the thing. So obviously, I lost something. But the question is there someone else who will also lose something if I don't achieve the thing? Do I have a girlfriend who needs me to make money because she wants to, I don't get married, or she wants to buy a new car for the family or something, right? Will she not be able to get what she wants because she can't count on your income? Is that a thing for you? Will she just feel disappointed because she's afraid you're gonna die because you're not healthy? Is that an issue? Right? Any of those things. Is there someone else who's affected by this other than you in a negative way if you don't achieve the thing? Am I doing the same thing? I'm linking my success or my failure to others in my community. If you purposefully link these together, you're increasing the odds you'll succeed, and also increasing the odds that someone will help you if you need help. And last piece is, if you fall down, somebody will help you pick you up. It's important. You want to be able to increase the odds. You want to create an environment of success. Setting goals is wonderful. Setting smart goals are wonderful. But everything I've been talking about today is about you setting up an environment for success, setting up for the odds of the most success you can possibly have. Again, this is not perfect, but this is how it works. I hope that part was clearer than other things and people have been talking about. It does matter. So let me grab a couple more comments. You guys give me a couple more comments. I appreciate that. So yes. All righty. Gene says, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Gene. I appreciate that. Yes, absolutely. 2 days we are now, will be the new year. Grace says, I found out when I had severe critical illness, the people I thought would show up did not. And people I had forgotten showed up in a big way. Yes. Grace, I'm glad you said that. I remember when my mom passed away, the people who showed up to her funeral and those who didn't. There were people who I was like, I haven't seen you and wow, you showed up. People thought, oh, you're too busy. Huh? Okay. I think that's true. I found this out this year more than 2018. In 2018, when I ran for governor, I was doing well. I was, popular. People were paying attention to me. I had tons of friends. Everybody was my friend then, right? Lots of friends then. Everybody loves me. When you're winning, I'm the coolest guy around then. This year, when I got my derriere spanked, when I did so poorly this year, I saw who was still there and who turned on me immediately. I saw a lot of people who I thought were close to me who just turned against me immediately. And, it was valuable for me to see that, right? It doesn't feel good, obviously. I mean, feeling like that never feels good. But, man, it's valuable. To your point, Grace, you now know. Okay, I can count on you. Oh, you? Oh, I can't count on you. You do see that. And I think that's an important piece. You want to look at the failures, if this is going to help at all, as lessons, right? So one of the ones I talk about is back in 2002, maybe 2002, I think, I started a business. And within 2 years, it had failed. I sold the business off to make some of my money back. So I didn't take a total bath. But I mean, I literally could have been working at McDonald's and made that amount of money. Literally, how much money I made in that business. By the time the business was, what I learned running that business is I knew how to sell, but I didn't know how to run a business. I didn't understand what I was just telling you, which is I was making money, but at the end of the month, I never had enough. And it took me a long time to figure out all the other things in the business to understand that I wasn't actually making any money, even though I was generating revenue. Now, for someone who's been in business for a while, that's a duh, but that was my first real business that I was really running on my own. And I had to learn that the hard way. And I did. And by the time I was done, about 2 years later, the business was actually profitable. It had actually become profitable. I'd figured it out over the course of 2 years, so the business was profitable. but I didn't want to do it anymore. This goes back to my other piece. I no longer had the desire to do it. I had so much bad feelings, so much bad blood. I just didn't want to get up in the morning and do it anymore. I was just done. And it was now making money. So somebody bought the business because it was a profitable business. So I made back some of my money. I didn't lose that much money at all. I probably did make some money over the course of the 2 years, but I mean, really no. I mean, my expense, probably nothing. But the point is, that was 2 years. And I say those 2 years, that was my MBA. That's how I learned how to run a business, through doing that. And when I failed at that, who was still there? When I came home with my tail between my legs, like, I lost my business, I sold it off. And who wasn't there? But anyway, that was a lesson for me that I learned. And just on a side note, I would not advise this. I'm going to tell you what I did. I would not advise this. But what I did was, I was so unhappy with the business, I sold it off on a handshake, not with a contract. Basically, what I sold off was my customer base and my contracts. So basically what I sold: customer base, contracts, contacts. I sold all that stuff, all my connections. I sold everything. Take the whole thing. And someone already had a business similar to mine. They basically merged the business directly in. So they just gained profit in the client base by buying mine. So the guy said, look, I don't have all the money you want. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll break it up into 6 payments and I'll pay you over 6 months. And I said, deal, done. You did money up front over 6 months. And we did that deal on a handshake. I would not advise doing that. So why would I do it? Because I was so sick and tired of this business. I didn't care anymore. I just want to get rid of it. And I just dumped it. It's like, just take it. Take the business. I'm out. Take it. Did he pay me over the 6 months? He did. What if he didn't? I had a handshake and a verbal agreement. I had no contract. Would I have gone after him? I probably wouldn't have, to be forward. I just wanted to move on. That is how burned I was from that business. I would have just moved on. I wouldn't even take it. I would have been fine. I'm done. But he did. He actually paid me every month for 6 months. Got a check every month for 6 months. He did pay me. So I did make the deal worked. But that's just how bad I felt about it. So interesting point. Chris is going to say, I hate to quote Bill Gates, but he said most people don't understand profit. Yes. He said Warren Buffett does, and that's why he's so successful. Well, Grace, I was that person. He's right. I didn't get it at all. It took me a long time to figure this out, right? And this is why I was talking earlier about us personally. Most people think they're winning or losing because of their hourly salary or because of their monthly salary. Well, I'm doing well because I used to make $40,000 a year. Now I make 45, so I'm doing well. But are you? I used to make, $20 an hour, and now I make $22 an hour. Are you doing well? I don't know. I'll ask the question. At the end of the month, are you able to pay all your bills, service all your debt, and still have enough to either save or do stuff? If the answer is no, you're not doing well. I don't care what that number is, right? That hourly number or that monthly number is irrelevant if what I just said isn't true. And that's the essence of profit. If that makes any sense. What's left over once you cover everything? And in my perfect case, in the perfect world, you can pay off all your debt, or at least pay down your debt significantly every month. Now you're rock and rolling. But a lot of Americans, they're barely servicing the debt. And for those of you who don't understand what that means, servicing the debt means you still owe the money, you're just paying the minimum amount so they don't come after you. So you're paying your monthly, fee to keep the debt. That's called servicing the debt, right? You're paying just what you need to pay to keep it going. That's bare minimum. If you can't get past that, there's no problem. There are people who would argue, and they might be right, to say that if you can't stop paying down debt, there's still no profit. That depends upon how you look at it. I could see it that way also, right? But either way, most people and most companies live with some form of debt, whether that debt's a mortgage or a credit card or a loan, car loan, something. Most people live with some form of debt and don't pay off all their debt. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't. This is not an advice show. For the comes to financial advice, you live with the debt level you feel comfortable with. But I'm saying most people will live their life with some form of debt, whether that's a car note, credit card note, mortgage, something. Most businesses will also function with some form of debt, right? Whatever that is. It's very common that people have debt on their business. Very common. So anyway, my point is, yes, profit is what you're talking about. And I think we have to worry about that. Grace, you got a lot to say. One more piece. Well, Trump said he's the king of debt. Well, Trump was the one, if I remember right, he said, is it Trump? I think it was him who said, if you owe the bank $100,000, you're in trouble. If you owe the bank $100 billion or $100 million, the bank's in trouble. So yes, someone once told me, no, sorry, didn't tell me this. I heard this. A comedian said this. I don't remember which comedian he said it. Two comedians are talking, and one of them says, some podcast I was watching. He says, oh yeah, China's in trouble. I mean, we're in trouble, right? We owe China like, $2 billion or whatever the number, $2 trillion, whatever we owe them, right? We owe them like $2 trillion. China's, we're in trouble. The guy said, we're not in trouble. China's in trouble. We're not paying that back. It's like, we're never paying that back. China's in trouble, not us. They're crazy to loan us that much money. They're the ones in trouble, not us. And I think that's the Trump methodology, right? The Trump methodology is that. So anyway, let me walk down a road real fast if I could, since I'm here. Guys, if you're watching this on Twitter, please do me a favor. Follow me on Twitter, Sharpe Way Twitter, and then retweet this if you like it. If you like what I'm saying, please retweet it. I hope you're enjoying what we're talking about. I hope it makes sense to you. I hope more than anything else, I hope it's going to push some of you over that precipice to make some change in your life. You were thinking about it, and now I'm nudging you, and that's the nudge you needed. Some of you are already doing it. You didn't need me. So I appreciate that if you already needed me. And some of you aren't going to change. This isn't enough for you. But I'm hoping for some of you, this is enough to just go, you know what? Let me do the thing. I've been talking about it forever. Let me use this as an excuse. If you like that, do me a favor. Follow me on Twitter, Sharpe Way Twitter, and retweet this. And if you're on YouTube, please go to Sharpe Way YouTube, subscribe. And when you subscribe, click that bell and select all notifications so you can get notifications when they're popping up. It does matter. If you do that, it will help a lot. Please do that. Other thing I always ask you, click that like button. It does matter. Every little like does count. If you want to support the show, please do so. Head over to theadvocates.org and take one of the surveys. And then when you like, there's lots of them there. And also take the world's smallest political quiz. Also right there, helps tremendously to do it. Take it, then share it. They're happy, I'm happy, and it's free. It's free. It's 100% free and helps the show. Please help the show that way if you could. It does help tremendously. So let me grab a couple more comments if I could. All right, let's see here. Jean says she gets notifications from Facebook. I love that. Yes, Facebook too. Please go to Sharpe Way Facebook page. That also works. No worries. I like them watching on Facebook. I love it. No big deal. 100%. Yes. So let's see here. I think you may be in the shadow ban. I see you on Facebook and YouTube both now. Maybe finally I'm getting past the shadow as possible. But if I am, it's because you guys. I hope so. It's because you guys. You guys are doing the clicks. I appreciate it tremendously. So thank you all for that. Absolutely. Facebook good too. I'm trying to push the Sharpe Way out because those who don't know, I think I was shadow banned on Larry Sharpe, but I don't think I'm shadow banned on Sharpe Way. But Sharpe Way hasn't grown very much. So my goals that I've been setting up for this year, in case you haven't noticed, is I've been saying now with the campaign over, I am now trying to grow the Sharpe Way platforms. The shadow banning has crushed me. And in my own world, this is my move forward. This is my bank account issue. You might go, but Larry, you're not making much money off this. You're right. I make virtually nothing off this. You're correct. Yes. I make just enough basically to move it forward with my team. I don't make any money off this. This isn't the point. I look at the long-term value. I am practicing what I'm preaching. The more popular I am with this show, the more people who see what I'm talking about, several things happen. One, those people who've been watching me for years trust me even more, which is good because I'm more open and I'm live. This is live. I don't have any notes. I'm just talking. So when that happens, you trust me more. You'll believe in me more. And when I screw up, and I will screw up, you'll be the ones who go, nah, that's not Larry. I got his back this one. I got his back. I've been listening to this guy for years. I know who he is. I got his back. So that is helpful for me, right? Long term, when I screw up, you guys will have my back. So that's one thing. But another piece is the more people who know who I am, what I'm saying, when I start pushing the things that I think are important, it will have more impact. And that's what I want. I want to have more impact. I wish my run this year would have had more impact. It didn't. What can I say? As I said earlier during the stream, I have to forgive myself for this. I hope you guys forgive me. I've asked for your forgiveness. I hope you forgive me. I wanted it to be better. It wasn't. What am I going to do? Forgive myself and move on. Get back up. And I'm going to sit here and talk trash about getting back up. Well, then I better get back up, right? Point my finger at you, Grace. Well, I better point at me first. So I'm pointing at me. So that's why I'm doing this, to keep this going. I think it does matter. It is important. And that's why I'm bugging you guys. And I'm trying to grow the Sharpe way out, because I think I was heavily shadow banned in Larry Sharpe. I saw a massive decrease in everything I was doing in Larry Sharpe. The system did not want me to succeed. That's not an excuse, as I said. It's an explanation. And I'm explaining why. So now I'm trying to change it. So I see what happened. It's not an excuse. It's what happened. So how do I fix it? How do I take the action to move forward? It's me bugging you guys to click on Sharpe stuff. So I do it. Every show you hear me say, either go on Sharpe YouTube, Gene says Sharpe Facebook, yes, or Sharpe Twitter. Go on to Sharpe products. I think the Sharpe platforms are not shadow banned. And I think that's why you're getting the notifications in my gut, because that's not shadow banned. The Larry Sharpe stuff is totally shadow banned. And it's been shadow banned for a very long time. So that's why I'm saying that. So anyway, all right. Let's see here. Paul says, I try to watch on the Sharpe. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. Absolutely. 100%. Larry had to fight a war on about 10 different fronts. It was admirable how you stayed in there till the end. You know, Paul, I'm going to give you a piece that I talked about earlier today, and how I try my best. I'm not perfect, and I fail too, but I try my best to talk the talk and walk the walk. I do try. And when I said that is, you get recognized and you get respect from failing and getting back up, right? Everybody falls down. Everyone listening, you all fell down. We all fall down. Me too. Sadly, when you're in office, your fall is public. Not everyone's fall is public. Some people's fall is public too. But we all fall down. The question isn't whether you fall down. We're all going to. The question is, you get back up. And for many of us, we can't get up by ourselves, right? You fall hard enough, you need help. Someone's got to give you the hand up. Hey, come on. I got you, Paul. Let's get up. Someone's got to do that. It does happen sometimes. But I think that's the piece. If we want to achieve what everyone wants to achieve, you have to keep going. And I had to do that. There was, and some of you know this, there was a group of people telling me, Larry, just quit. It's not worth it. End it. Just it's over. You fought the good fight. Walk away. Campaign's over. And I kept saying to myself, did I want to quit? Of course, there was a part of me that wanted to just end it. Of course, I'm human. Of course, it was a part of me that said, I'm done. Good. You know what? Good excuse to stop it. Let me get back to work. Let me stop this punishment. Let me stop getting hammered. Let me just stop it. And there was a part of me that said that. And there was a part of me that said, no, you have to keep going. You're the guy who tells everybody to get back up, right? Well, you got to get back up. You got to keep going. And you don't want to tell everyone, don't drop out. So you got to do it. So I knew that the odds of me winning were 0. I also knew the odds of me getting ballot access were slim, but were possible. That was a goal we could achieve. That was an achievable goal, as I believed it was. So I said, well, push that. And I tried to push it. I knew that if it didn't work, it would be an embarrassing loss. And it was. It was an embarrassing loss. It was. But we keep moving. We forgive ourselves. We ask for forgiveness, and we keep moving. And I hope that people will keep following. So thank you, Paul, for that. I really do appreciate that. So yes. All right. Patty says, you got me to use Twitter more. Oh, awesome. My teen daughter set me up an account for me in 2016 because I felt the burn. Yes, I know. I never really used it. I have used it now because of you, Larry Sharpe. Thank you. Almost daily. Happy New Year. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad. Look, I'm hoping that Elon Musk will do better with Twitter. I hope so. So yes, we hope it is better. I'm happy that we connected any way possible, right? You know, the glory and the horribleness of social media. The horribleness is we can be very mean to each other because we can connect so easily and be anonymous. But the glory is we can also stay connected, right? And that's the best part. I can't get up to Plattsburgh every week, Patty, but I can see you on this every week, right? So there's the glory, right? We can still meet each other and see each other. And then often as I travel, I've been doing a bunch of traveling this year also, particularly to many libertarian conventions this year, because I couldn't do it last year because I'm sorry, next year I'll be doing because it's still 2022. See, Patty, we got to remember, I'm already in 2023. I'm too early. So So I realized that next year I'll be doing a lot of traveling to other states, to other conventions. So I meet a lot of people who I often don't often see, but I'm connected on social media, so we're still in each other's worlds, right? That's the good thing. The bad part is Twitter can be a sewer. So it's both good and bad. Absolutely. So anyway, Paula goes on to say it was interesting how a lot of New York media talked about voter apathy and then a Republican would win after the election. Yeah, the stuff I was saying before the election, everyone started saying after the election. Yes, Paula, I'm well aware of that. Yes, absolutely. So with that in mind, you probably know, since I'll bring this up, since we're bringing this aspect up, this works right with our New Year's special. What am I trying to achieve now? Right? What am I doing now with this? As you know, I'm trying to achieve ballot access for New York State in 2024. That's the goal. I'm not running in 2024. We'll have a candidate some way, but I want to build out a party again. We lost all independent parties in New York State this year. They're all gone. There's officially a Working Families Party and Conservative Party, but those are parasite parties. They're not real parties. So we don't have any other parties. We don't have any parties that are independent anymore. I will try to build that out. That will be hard. That won't be easy, but I think we have to try. Well, the option that we have, it's a goal that I had to think about. I sat with my team. Is that what I was talking about here? I did with my team. We talked about it. What's the right answer? How can this happen? What's the focus? What makes it simple? And I came up with a simple but difficult goal. Simple goal: raise $500,000 by April 1 of 2024. That is a simple goal. That's it. If we achieve this, we win. We raise $500,000. We're able now to make the next step. We can get the people we want. We can get ballot access, and we'll be fine. We'll get the signatures we need and the votes we need with that amount of money. How do I know? Because I've been through this twice already. I know exactly how much money we need. It's $500,000. So that's a simple goal. $500,000. Is it going to be easy? No. No. Raising $500,000 when I'm not running is not going to be easy, but I'm going to try it. And part of that is what we're doing now, being more popular, more people talking, more people knowing who I am, more people understanding my goal, more people going, you know what? Yeah, you know what? I'll throw Larry $10 a month. I'll do it. Yeah, I'll throw Larry $10 a month. I'll do it. Yeah, more people doing that. So this is the first step, and I keep going. I am trying what I've been talking to you for the past literally 2 hours now is what I'm actually trying to do. I do my best to practice what I preach, right? I don't do it because I read it in a book and I'm so super smart. That's not it. I think the number one thing is I've been getting my butt kicked, so I keep going. There is a saying, not a saying, there's a thought process, I should say. People say, you know what? You want to follow the advice of people who've been successful. Don't listen to anybody who's failed. That's not 100% true. If someone has been successful and never failed, don't listen to them. Let me say that one more time. If someone has been successful and never failed, do not listen to them. They've learned nothing. They don't know how they've been successful. They couldn't tell you what happened because they haven't failed. Now, if someone has only failed one time and never tried again, also don't listen to them because they haven't taken responsibility for the failure. They haven't learned the lessons. So in neither case has the person learned lessons that they can tell you. That it's not helpful for you if the person either has been successful and never failed or failed one time and never tried again. Both of those two people are not going to be able to help you because they haven't learned lessons. What about someone who's either failed then succeeded? Home run. They failed. They learned lessons. They got better. Listen to that person. Or failed multiple times and they keep going. They've learned lessons also. Those are the two types of people you want to listen to. The others are the ones you don't want to when it comes to having success. So we do want to fall down. We do want to listen to people who've fallen down. The question is, have they gotten back up? And if someone's always been successful, what have they learned? They can't teach you anything. They don't know it themselves. And many people who are very successful actually don't know why they are. They just go, well, I work hard. Lots of people work hard. That doesn't help me, right? That doesn't help me. So I know I went off topic, but I hope that was clear anyway. So yes. All right. So I can do this. Let's see here. Gene says, when I was taxed out of business, all I did I let my license expire. That's what I could afford at the time. Well, there we go. Jingles want to say maybe you can make it to PA. I usually go to PA and New Jersey because they're close to me in New York. I usually make those conventions. I couldn't last year, obviously, but yes, I usually make those. I usually make Connecticut, Jersey, and Pennsylvania because they're very close to me. So I usually make those three. Brian says, one thing that increased your popularity is taking all comments in real time, critics, fence sitters, and supporters alike. Well, I hope so, Brian. I try to take everybody. You know, I'm one of the people who I wish more people would, to be forward. When I go on other people's podcasts, sometimes they have haters who are hammering me and they feel embarrassed, so they won't put the hater comment up. And then until after I leave, then they put the hater comment up and laugh. And I'm like, no, put the hater comment up when I'm there so I can address it. What I will say all the time is, if I'm so popular, sorry, not popular, if I'm so confident, thank you. If I'm so confident that I'm right, I should be able to handle people who tell me I'm wrong. Right? I think I'm right. Of course I do. I wouldn't be saying the stuff I'm saying if I didn't think it was correct. So obviously, I'm going to keep, I want you to give me the bad stuff so I can deal with it, right? Something else, if I am afraid of the bad stuff and other people see it and go, why didn't Larry take that comment? That guy must be right. When he said Larry's dumb, they must be right. So yeah, I think you're right, Brian. And that's why I do it. But the thing is, I'll be forward with you guys. My team has often told me to not do this. Don't take the live comments. Let's just record stuff. Don't do it live. It's easier, it's faster, it's cheaper. And Brian, they're right. They're correct. That's why most people don't do it live like this. Most will, just, record it and do it later and pop it up as it is. It's easier, it's cheaper. You don't have the screw ups. It is. But I feel like the reason why I started doing this during the campaign in 2018 was because I wanted to stay connected to the people. I wanted to make sure the people who I was out there pretending or trying to do the right thing with, right, would feel they could be connected to me. And I felt weird separating myself from them when I'm asking for you to vote for me and I'm asking for you to let me represent you, but I'm going to put a barrier between me and you. It didn't seem ethical. I know it sounds dumb. It's one of my problems being in politics. Being ethical is a problem. I probably shouldn't be, but it didn't feel ethical to me. I thought I can't really do that. I've got to be able to take the good with the bad and deal with it. When I go out to my events, you see my events I go to. I don't go out to a fundraiser where everyone loves me and gives me money. I wish I was doing that. Maybe that's my other problem. I should be doing that, but I don't. I go to a local diner, a gun store, a vape shop. I go wherever I want to go. I go to whatever people are going to be there, and I take whoever. And sometimes it's a bunch of people who love me, and sometimes I get yelled at. It all depends. But I feel like that was my brand, if that makes any sense, Brian. Like, that's my brand. That's what people expect of me. If I don't do that, I'm kind of going against my brand. And if I'm going against my brand, then I'm kind of just like all the rest of them. And I don't want to be like all the rest of them. And that's not always the right answer. I know it isn't. I probably could have been more popular if I had just done hit piece videos only and, recorded stuff with just, cool thumbnails and stuff. I probably could have been. I mean, if I look back at it, is my business model the best business model? No. But is it the one that I feel the most comfortable with? The one that I want to get up and do? You guys see how much content I put out? I mean, I put out hours and hours of content every single week. I couldn't do that if I didn't love it. This goes back to my earlier part that I was talking about. You want to find something you do that you want to do. I like engaging with people. If you've met me in person, you see me do it. I like engaging with people. I like having conversations. I like doing those things, right? So I want to make sure that I'm doing what I want to do so that I want to do it. I don't want to get up and I want to be like, do I? I don't want to do that. So I know I went long on this, but I guess your point, I wanted to make sure that your point was a valid one. I think you're right. However, it may not be the best business model. If I just want to make money, it probably isn't. But it's the way that I can keep going to where that I can put as much content as I put out and just keep going. So yes. Paul says the bigger problem is no third parties, and I'm concerned that will soon come to my state and other states. Yep. The public showed how afraid they are of any third party after they went after you. Correct. Yes. All right. Patty, well, you guys, thank you for your comments, guys. A funny connection I made. What you just said. My brother, our D&D DM. Now I'm jealous because I love D&D and I used to be a DM too. Gave my character a small young character, but I get up again spell for when she falls in battle. I like it. You just made it forever, Mr. Sharp thinking the forever it forever my sharp thinking spell. Oh, I think that. Oh, that's good. I can't wait for our next session. First week of the next year. All right, I got to come up and play with you guys then. All right, got to do it. I still have all my old stuff from the 80s. I actually had the original books from the 70s. I was total D&D geek when I was a kid. Total D&D geek. I played it when I was in the Marine Corps. So yes, absolutely. Yeah. All right. Grace is quoting Gates all day long. Hate to quote Gates again, but I read where he said, "It is hard to say what makes a person successful in business." He used the Nike founders as an example, saying he had no idea how he was a success. It's true, right? Many people who've had early success or quick success and haven't fallen down don't actually know why they were successful, why they didn't fail and learn why. They just did stuff and it worked. I'm not mad at you. I hope we're all lucky and just the first time's a hit. It does happen, right? Somebody wins the lottery. It does happen. People do try, and sometimes, and you might too. You guys might try something new and immediately works, and boom, it's all awesome. And then maybe not. The odds are you're not going to hit it big or do great off the bat. That's the odds, but you might. You never know. So I'm not mad at the guy at Nike who made a bunch of money. Good for him. Nice. However, big however, that's not a person who's going to teach me anything. They don't know why. It's got to be someone who's either fallen down and then succeeded. That's the best, right? The best person is someone who's made the mistake, who's fallen on their face and got back up and then been successful. That person clearly learned the lessons. Listen to that person, right? They went through it. Don't do this. I failed at that, blah, blah. That's good. But some guy who just walks up and goes, "I'm a winner." Nice. Congrats. You're not helping me, though. So, yes, I agree. Is this the quote Bill Gates day? I like it, Grace. That's good. Paula goes, I always respected artists who do live TV. I'm big fan of anyone who can go live with an audience. Let me cover this. This goes back to my other point about habits and timing. I spent a lot of time doing things live. That's why if you listen to some people who talk, if they're on a live, they would do this. They have an interview and they go, a lot of that. You rarely hear me do that. Why? I've been doing this a long time. I've been doing some form of live commentary for probably, I don't know, 2006. So what's that? 16 years? Something like that. So I've done so much of it. It is rare that you will hear me do ums and ers. I do sometimes. I'm still human. I still screw up and do the bad things. Just rarely. I do it often. But there's something else I do. I talked about prepping for the problems, right? You know that if I try to achieve something, I'm either going to have haters or you're going to have problems or issues, things that come up that you can't handle. So prep is very important. If you notice when I do my interview shows, most people who do interview shows, here's your interview. So, hi, Grace, I'm glad you came on. Tell us about yourself. So how'd you get involved in this in the first place? So I never say those things, right? Why? Because everyone else does. I don't want to do what everyone else does. Remember something. This will drive you crazy. Most people fail. Most people are unhappy. So if you do what most people do, you will probably fail and be unhappy. Does that make sense? Most people fail. Most people are unhappy. So if you do what most people do, you'll probably fail and be unhappy. So I try my best to not do what most people do, right? That's the point. So I don't want to allow inertia or whatever's in front of me to run my life. I want to try to the best of my ability to pick and choose what I do with my life. Again, not an easy task. Simple, but not easy. It's hard to do that. It's hard to physically try to take control of your life and control what you can and accept what you can't, because some things you can't change, right? But certain things you can. And then no difference between the two. That's not easy to do, but it's the right answer. So if you can do it, you go do it. So where was I going with this now? Oh, yes. Now I remember. Yes. Not doing what everyone else does. I don't do that. So what do? If you ever notice, whenever I interview anybody, I've already done my homework on that person. Like I know a little bit about them. I know what they've said, what they've done, where they stand. And I push on things that I think are interesting or different or strange or out of the ordinary that someone might find interesting. That's what I do. That's how I interview. And I do that because I used to do so give us a so. I don't do that anymore. If you notice, I never allow anyone to introduce themselves on any of my shows. I intro them. This person is this. And for more information, go here. Then I ask questions. I don't go, so tell us. And everyone falls asleep. And then when I was a kid, they don't do that. I don't want them to do that. So I think that aspect of trying to be good live isn't just because you're good live. It is because of that, because you do it often, right? If you do anything often, you'll be better at it no matter what. But also because I prep for the holes, for the problems. If you also notice when I interview, I often move people along the interview. I don't just go, keep talking. I'll just sit here and smile. I move them down a road because I'm worried that if I go too far down a certain road, people get bored, people won't care, blah, blah. So I do all of those things, right? That's a piece that I do constantly. I think prepping for what I call scenario training, right? Prepping for the bump in the road, which is going to happen whenever you have that. And at the same time, doing it often to where, as I said, the path is open in the forest. We can walk down that tree. That's an important piece. Right? I'm not worried about doing things live because I've done it so many times. That path in my brain, right? That pathway is wide open. And I often prep so that if something jumps out, I know how to handle it, when it happens. The other thing is you also thought to be good enough to where you're not that concerned. Right? If I have somebody on my show who says something bad or does something bad, you guys see me all the time. You know who I am, right? I'll get around it somehow and you'll be like, that was something, but you'll move on. So I think that's a key piece. So thank you for that. I do appreciate it. But yes, you don't want to do what everyone else is doing, or you're not going to be special. You want to do what matters to you. And that sounds selfish. I know it does. But if you're happier, it's easier for you to make others happier. It is. It's easier for you to make others happier if you're happy. If you're happy, people want to be around you, right? And whether that's, me and Patty playing Dungeons and Dragons, or whether that's somebody hanging out there, maybe me and Rebecca doing a play together or something, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's whatever makes you the happiest, right? Or as Brian, it's 4:20 in Paraguay onion time. Yes, or whether it's imbibing substances that you enjoy, all good also. Yes, I appreciate that. So, all right. Paula says, yes, love your interviews. Wish more people on the right or from the GOP would appear on your show. I do get those too, right? But yeah, I've been asking a lot of people. Actually, I have a congressperson from Utah who's Republican coming on in January. So I do have some more people from the right coming on. I try to balance left and right to the best of my ability. I try, but it also, Paul, depends on who can show up and when, the timing, and then their schedules versus my schedules. So I do try to, in my perfect world, I have left and right, and then something else, right? Left and right, and then an issue, or left and right and a problem. I try to do that to the best of my ability, but I kind of get what I get. And sometimes I wind up getting multiple people who are left or multiple who are right in a row, or multiple issues. It does happen. But I do try to make it to where I'm giving you some of each and everything. The goal is, and one of the reasons why I'm trying to make the Sharpe Way special, this is my goals, right? Everything I'm telling you about for goals, I do too. I don't want the Sharpe Way to be a libertarian show. And it may sound weird, but I don't. I want the audience to be libertarian, but I don't want it to be a libertarian show. There are a gazillion libertarian shows, right? If you want one of those, easy to find. They're everywhere, right? Every libertarian I know has a show. Go to their show and talk about taxation stuff. It's fine. My show is for libertarians to see others and to have conversation with others, because my goal, as you guys know, my goal is conversion. That's my goal. And I'm open about it. I don't hide it. My goal is better relationships with people who are not libertarians, opening and turning them, because I think our way is the best way. And I think if we talk enough, we will move more people towards the libertarian mindset, towards liberty and freedom. I think we can. I think we will. But we got to talk to them. They got to believe us. They got to trust us. So they got to come on a somebody show. They got to come on somebody's show. Kit, who was on last week, or this week, he said that my show was the first libertarian show he's ever been on. The Revolutionary Black Network, first libertarian show that I've been on. Yes, first one I've been on. I want more of that. I want Republicans on. I want right-wingers on. I want Democrats on. I want left-wingers on. I want them all on. And libertarians too. But this is about all of us getting together. This is a place that, as you see, the tagline is about respect, right? That's the tagline. It's the way to respect. That's what I'm trying to achieve. I'm about conversion. I can't turn you if I can't talk to you. So thank you for that. And if you notice, some of you get mad, but if you notice, I just give light pushback to guests. I don't hammer them. Light pushback. Pushback, requirements, clarifications, things like that. And some of them come and say stuff that's I think is kind of nutty, but okay. That's what you believe, is what you think. I do that. And I also try to show the audience when the person believes what they're doing is right, that the person isn't mean. They just think this is the right way. And that example I will keep bringing up. It matters. I will never stop bringing this up. Never. It's so important. Thomas Sowell used to be a Marxist. Thomas Sowell was a Marxist when he looked at his experience and the knowledge he had. He thought Marxism was the right answer with the experience that he had and the knowledge that he had. Once that knowledge and experience changed, he became libertarian, and he's one of our greatest minds in the libertarian field, right? Well, these people coming on my show, they believe with the knowledge they have and the experience they have that their way is the right way. Well, if we can give them different knowledge, different experience, we can turn them too. And if there's a Thomas Sowell in there somewhere, I want him. That's all I'm saying. If there's a Thomas Sowell in there somewhere, I want them absolutely. So, yes. The Libertarian lady says, can't wait to hear the 3 Jacks Libertarians in your podcast. Yes, I have one on, was it next week? I think next week. No, week after? I forgot. One or two. The next week, the week after. Then a couple weeks, another one, and a couple weeks, another one. I have one every month. One in January, one in February, and one in March. These are all Jacksonville Libertarians running. And by the way, they're all going to be on the Libertarians Drinking Live show, which is usually either Wednesday or Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. I try to do it that time, either Wednesday or Thursday, 3 p.m. I have some exceptions here or there. That show is a libertarian show, and it's all about libertarians. All about libertarians. That show is, it's actually not a Sharpe Way show. If you look at it, there's no Sharpe Way on it. It is a Larry Sharpe show, but it's about libertarians. It is a libertarian show that I do once a week. Sadly, and I'll bring this up, I have another goal. I'm talking about goals. I'm giving you goals. You'll see what I'm doing. What I realized, again, when I ran this year, is that when I turned on either MSNBC or Fox, there was a candidate on every night, sometimes 4, 5, 6 candidates on every night. Fox was having 6 on a night. And MSNBC, at least 3, if not more, on every night. Democrats on MSNBC and Republicans on Fox every night. And I thought, who's having libertarians on? Nobody. Sorry, Kennedy. Kennedy has always been good to me. Kennedy is constantly having libertarians on. She is. But other than Kennedy, nobody. No one has them on. We don't have any media, right? We don't have a TV station or something. You know what show, what personality has had the most libertarian candidates on, not activists, candidates on? You're looking at them. Larry Sharpe. I've done over 100 Libertarians Drinking Coffee Live, which are all candidates. I have candidates on more than anybody else. So I keep having them on. And my goal is in the future to create some type of media infrastructure or ecosystem to where we can have libertarian candidates on a normal basis, right? I can do once a week, so I do. I hope I can grow this to where I can do it 3 times a week. That'd be amazing. I wish I could do 3 a day, whatever. Every Thursday night, we do 3 libertarian candidates or something. That would be amazing. But that takes growth. And this goes back to the earlier point. It takes growth. I didn't do as well as I wanted to this year. I'll push again next year, and I'll keep pushing. If it's not me, then it's someone who copies me. I accept. If it's not me, it's someone who brings me aboard, or I bring someone else aboard to do it. Doesn't matter. Either way, we have to build out an ecosystem or an organization or infrastructure that supports libertarian candidates. We don't have that, and we need it desperately. I couldn't get, I mean, you saw what I was doing. You guys were watching. And again, I'll go back to the earlier part. Why in the world would I go on so many left-leaning shows? There were two reasons. One, I always want to convert. That's my thing. And they have to see me as a human being. Well, Larry, why didn't you go in there and own them? I didn't want to own them, right? And did I get beat up a couple of times? Yes, absolutely. Did I do it on purpose? Yes, absolutely. Because if I go there and I try to own them, I can never come back and I lose them forever. So I have to take some punches so that I can keep going. And this goes back to the part of it, things being simple but not easy. You think it's easy for me to go on a left-leaning show and get my butt kicked? That doesn't feel good. I don't like that. Or not be able to push back as hard as I want to push back, or not show them how wrong they are, because many of them are very wrong. I don't like that. But I need to, because I have to keep a dialogue open, because sadly, nobody else is. And something else, I wasn't getting on any of the podcasts. I wasn't getting on other shows. The media wasn't talking to me. They were the only ones talking to me. I take what I can get. I take what I can get. So a lot of stuff going on there. So I appreciate that. The libertarian, that libertarian lady. And yes, I will be having them on, and I will try to have on a libertarian candidate on every week. From now on, I want to try at least once a week. Every time, if I can get more, I will, but at least once a week, keep them going, right? I want to make sure that we are supported, that we feel supported. But something else, that these candidates now can use this video in their future, promotion of themselves, and also helps them to get interviewed. So it's all good. Anyway, went a bit long on that, but yes, I do want, it's a separate podcast. Libertarians shouldn't call. There'll be 3 as of next week. There'll be 3 separate podcast types, at least 3. One will be Libertarians Drinking Coffee Live, which will be, and again, I'm practicing when I'm preaching. I am using the new year to make changes, right? To shift and learn from my errors of 2022 to make a better 2023. I'm not just pointing my finger at you. I'm pointing at me too, right? We're doing this now, right? Hopefully you're part of this. Hope you guys stay with me. But there will be Libertarians Drinking Coffee Live, which will be whenever I can, Wednesdays and Thursdays, 3 p.m. Eastern. That'll be a Libertarian on. Sharpe will be at least 3 nights a week. Will be Sharpe at least, hopefully Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at least, 3 nights a week, which will have guests on, which will be people who are usually non-libertarians, meaning not libertarian candidates, who are talking about other issues and stuff. We can go back and forth and learn things and grow in that regard. One type of AMA that may go on locals, maybe, because I'm trying to grow on locals too. I might shift that also. And then maybe one, that I'll do on YouTube also. We'll see how that works. One of those 2. And then we're going to be doing Sharpe Radio. For those who don't know, a free solution is going away. We will not have a free solution on Tuesdays mornings, Tuesday afternoons anymore. It will change. We will still exist, but it will now be Sharpe Radio. So Sharpe Radio is now starting next Tuesday at 1 p.m. instead of a free solution. Very similar show, just branded differently. So it'll be a little bit branded differently, similar show. We're doing those 3 things. So we are, again, I'm telling you to think about the new year to make changes. I am doing it also. So again, practicing what I preach, putting my finger at you, pointing at me also. So thank you for that. I do appreciate that. Yes. All righty. Let me try to grab some of this if I can. Well, so many. I appreciate this. So good. All right. Brian goes on. It only took 6 months of working for the federal government to change his mind about Marxism. Yes, but I got to be clear, Brian. Okay. For those of you who don't know the story about Thomas Sowell, he actually met Milton Friedman and they talked and they were friends, and Milton was trying to turn him to a libertarian, but he didn't turn him. Then Thomas Sowell went and worked for the federal government. I think it was Department of Labor, if I'm not mistaken, Department of Labor. And within 6 months, he was like, okay, this doesn't work. Damn it, that Milton guy was right. So yes, so Milton Friedman turned him. However, here's the most important part, Brian. If he had never met Milton Friedman, theoretically, Thomas Sowell had never met Milton Friedman and had gone to work for the Department of Labor, he probably would have thought, well, this isn't real socialism, or, well, if we just give it more money, he might have still thought that, if that makes any sense. So he also had to have the pre-knowledge or the background from a freedman so that when he saw the experience in the Department of Labor, he was like, oh. So that's why I say it is experience and knowledge. It's both. With the knowledge and experience that Thomas Sowell had, he knew something was wrong. He didn't know what it was. With the knowledge and experience that he had, Marxism made sense to him because that's what he had. Once Friedman gave him the knowledge, Department of Labor gave him the experience, he's like, oh, okay, got it. And now he's a hardcore libertarian. So thank you for that. But yes, that's the point of why I'd give both. I think it has to be both of those two, knowledge and experience. And then boom, there we go. Grix was on, the LP needs its own Fox or MSNBC. Yes, yes, and yes. Look, maybe Sharpe Media will become that. I hope so. I'm trying, Grace. Maybe Sharpe Media will become that. Absolutely. So Grace says, sometimes being smart means knowing when to shut up. Oh my God, you are so right. Oh my God, you are so right. Big time correct. The amount of times, let me go further in this. A little bit off topic, but I think it does matter. For those of you who want to use 2023 as a way to grow the movement, if that matters to you, it does matter to me tremendously. I know not to everybody. It does matter to you. Realize something. Whenever something weird or bad or something makes you angry or something cringy happens in the movement, you do have an option to say nothing. You can just, to your point, Grace, you can just shut up if you want to. It is a choice you can make. People just go, I gotta call people out. No, you don't have to call people out. You can. You can. You have a First Amendment right. If you want to call people out, you can. It's not a requirement. You can choose to just say nothing. You don't have to back the person or the thing. You can just say nothing. If you notice, with all the fights and battles that happen in the libertarian movement, very often, I just say nothing. Because that's a choice. I can just say nothing. In my mind, I try to think to myself, if I say something, will it be helpful in the long run? And I'm always looking long run. Will it be helpful in the long run? The answer is no, or I'm unsure. I err on the side of shut up. That's what I do. I'm not saying you should. I'm saying I do. If I'm sure, no, this will be good in the long run, I say something. If not, I just shut up and I let it go. And most of the time, it goes right past me. Not always, but most of the time it does. So yes, I think that's the piece that's important. Sometimes you're totally right. Just say nothing. And I've said nothing before, but I've also been wrong. Like I should have said something and I didn't. I'm not always right there, right? I screw up also, but I think I err on the side of saying nothing versus saying something. I try to say things when I think it matters. So thank you for that. I agree with that. Yes. Patty says, I'm going to try to listen more. Wow. Is that hard, Patty? Because as humans, we don't want to. We want to keep talking. But you're right. Use less words to get my point across and ask for small steps towards my goals. Let me grab all three of those, if I could. One of the reasons why I like doing the interview shows, one of the reasons why I like being out in front of people is I have to listen. It's important. I can't respond effectively if I don't listen. That's why I like taking comments, right? I have to listen or I can't respond effectively. And if I'm listening and I respond effectively, now both people know they've been heard. We're going to have a better relationship. It's how it works. Using less words is tough. It's tough. I struggle with that also, which is why when people give me those quick phrases, I love them because this chat's amazing, as you know, Patty. The people here are smart, they're savvy, they're paying attention, and they give me so much gold. It's like, here's some more gold, Larry. And I'm like, thank you. You give me some cool thing and try to remember it and use it, right? Because, oh, that's better. They said it better than I did. So I'm going to use that because that's better than the way I said it. So yes, I agree completely. And ask for small steps towards my goals. This piece is so important. This is the most important piece. Not only do we want to have small steps towards goals, but as I mentioned earlier in the stream, we also want to make sure that we are somehow rewarding ourselves for the small steps. And that's subjective, right? Is that a pat in the back? Is that a well done? Is that a sticker on the wall? Whatever the case may be, right? It's something that is small, but the small thing really does matter. Is it an email? Whatever it is, you just tell somebody and they go, good job, right? Any of those things. I think it does matter that you get some kind of recognition in a way that keeps you going. Otherwise, we start saying to ourselves, why bother? I know some of us say, I will hear people say all the time, I don't care about ceremonies. I need results. You're wrong. You're a human being, so you care about ceremony. We all do. Now, again, level of ceremony is different. We don't need to have a parade every time or get a medal every time, whatever. Remember that, Joe? What do you want, a medal? Well, medals matter. If medals didn't matter, we wouldn't have medals, right? What was it Napoleon, I think, who said he's surprised how a man will sacrifice try to sacrifice his life for a piece of colored ribbon on his uniform? Because ceremony matters. It does. We care. We're human beings. So yes, all I'm saying, Pat, I'm going along. Less words thing. I'm failing at that miserably. What I want to say to you though is small steps, yes. And on top of that, some form of recognition, whatever that is, right? We love that the sales funnel we often would have, like if you're raising money, you would have the thermometer and it would go up as you raise more money. That's ceremony, symbolism. It matters. So also give yourself that too. Also that. She goes on to say, point of view matters, stumbling blocks or stepping stones. Ooh, yes. Let me cover that piece that I actually didn't go in deep enough. When I talk about my business that failed. A lot of times people would say, Larry, you don't understand. I spent all this money. I lost all this money. And I said, did you learn something? Well, yeah. Then don't look at it as you lost the money. Look at it like you paid for a class. It was just an expensive class. And I know that sounds weird to say, but this is your point, Patty, right? So say I get swindled by some guy who says, Larry, I got this, get rich quick scheme. It just cost you $1,000. And I give the guy $1,000 and he takes my money and I lose it all. I can go, I got suckered for $1,000, which is one way of looking at it. Or I can go, I just paid a guy $1,000 for a class on not getting swindled anymore. Expensive class, but an effective one. So it worked. I spent $1,000 and it hurt because that's adult money and I got rid of adult money, but that's a class. And there we go. So you will often hear me say, for those of you around me more, I'll say, okay, that will happen one time. That's a saying I use. That will happen exactly one time, meaning that I've learned my lesson. I've made a mistake and I've learned from it. That is the stepping stone piece that you bring up, Patty. And often you will spend money or time and you'll lose that money and or time in that lesson. And I would say that's how expensive that lesson was, right? That was the lesson. Did you learn something or did you just get bitter? Now, we get bitter. I get bitter too. But being bitter is not helpful. It's human. It's not helpful. It's better to go, all right, that sucked. I lost my time or got fooled or made a mistake or got publicly embarrassed, whatever the case may be. But okay, I learned a lesson. It was an expensive lesson in time and or money, but it's a lesson. That's what I had to pay. Think about this. We are dropping right now. This is a true story. If you got a kid who's in college or you're in college, we're dropping $20, $30, $40, $50,000 a year in college now. For what? For what? For an at best mediocre education. At best mediocre. At best, often useless, depending on what you're doing, where your life goes. Right? Often useless. In fact, is it Google now who's decided that they're not even this is some stats, you guys, a little bit off topic, but I think the point is to be made. I think it's Google now that has actually stopped its requirement of having a college degree for hiring anymore. They don't even require it anymore. It's nice, but not required anymore. That's how useless a college degree is now. And now over 50% now, it's going to that level, over 50% of people who are college graduates are making equal or less to, on average, people who don't have a college degree anymore. Yes. And now, if I remember the right answer, it's over 50% of people now who have college degrees are working in jobs that don't require college degrees. So yes, you can say, well, I'm mad because I lost $1,000 to some swindler. Okay, but that was $1,000 lesson. It's not a $40,000 lesson. I should be happy. I never spent $40,000 to learn nothing. I spent $1,000 and a very valuable lesson that I will not do again. Boy, the thing I always say is lessons you learn the hard way, boy, do you learn. Boy, do you learn. Yes, yes, and yes. So anyway, thank you for that, Patty. I agree with everything you're saying completely. Brian says, I took a sales seminar titled Listening versus Hearing. Very enlightened. All right. Let me cover that. We're way off topic, guys. I apologize, but I wanted to be able to give you guys time to do Q&A. I thought there'd be more Q&A on goal setting, but we can do this. I don't mind, whatever the Q&A is. Listening versus hearing. Listening and hearing. Listening is hearing with focus. That's what listening is. It's hearing with focus. The key word when listening is empathy. There are two questions you want to be thinking about or asking yourself when someone's talking. The first one is, why are they telling me this? And the second one is, what are they trying to say? But they're very similar. So if I start I'll give the example in business and then in like family relationships. In business, you're in a meeting and some guy starts saying, look, let me tell you, back in 99, we did blah, 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 blah. And you're like, why is he talking about 99? What's going on here? You should be thinking that. You shouldn't be thinking the specifics of what he's saying. You should be thinking to yourself, why is he saying that? What's he actually trying to say? Remembering that what communication actually is, it's not words. Communication is, I want to get what's in my head into your head, right? My goal is what's in my head into your head. If I had magic powers and I could just pop it into your head, I wouldn't say a word. I just pop it into your head. Done. You now got the information into your head. But I can't. So I use words, either in writing or speaking. Maybe use hand gestures and things of that sort to get it into your head. So what is a person trying to get into my head when the person starts saying, back in 99, they're trying to say is, hey, I have important knowledge. You guys should be listening to my important knowledge because I've been here. I'm valid and important. That's what he's trying to say. So how do I get him to stop talking and to show that I'm listening? By telling him that. So when Joey starts saying that and I go, Joey, you know what? I'm glad you're here, man. All the knowledge you have is going to help us tremendously in this project. I really appreciate that. He'll stop talking. Because I've just acknowledged to him that I was listening, that I heard him, and that what he wanted to get into my head is now in my head. And what's in my head is he's smart, he's been around, he's important, we should listen to him. And I say that. And he goes, yep, you're right. All right, yeah. And he'll stop talking. And now he'll only reach out to answer the question or give us the information that was required. That's listening. When you're listening, you're thinking about what the person wants to actually say and why are they saying it? Why do they care? Why do they care? Right? Personal life. You're talking to your spouse and your spouse starts giving you some huge, story on how you can tell you how to fix your life. You should fix it by doing this and blah, 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 blah. Why are you telling me a story about this? What do you care? Why are you telling me some story about how much you fix my life? Why are you telling me this? Oh, you want to show me that you care. You want things to be good. You feel awkward that I'm in a bad spot and you feel like you're inept if you can't fix it. Okay, so I have to respond to that now because I'm listening. I'm thinking, why does he care? Why is he saying so much? I'm just talking about some problem I have with my girlfriend or something. Why is he doing this? Okay, that's the reason why. Let him know. I appreciate you listening to me. I'm not looking for a solution right now. I'm looking for someone to hear me. And you're good at that. Thank you for hearing me. That's all I really wanted. And then, so I just got to nod my head basically. Yeah, just nod your head, man. We'll be good. And so now I don't think I have to do a thing. I just nod my head. Oh, okay. I'm helping now by nodding my head. All I want to do is be helpful and useful. And now you are. You've told me how to be helpful and useful. Nod your head and go, oh my God. So he'll nod his head and go, oh my God. He's not helpful and useful. That's listening. Listening is not trying to think about what you're going to say next, but trying to think about what is that person trying to get across and why do they care? Then pausing and asking more questions. And here's an example I'll often give. I do this in class. I teach this all the time in class. My day job when I get to work, because I literally teach this class, an emotional intelligence class, an emotional communications class. What I talk about is the idea of, ask someone to tell you about their weekend. And when they do, what do you want to say? And if someone's talking about their weekend, you say, well, my weekend was blah, 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 blah. You weren't listening. You heard it. You now said what you wanted to say. But if you now then ask questions to clarify about what happened on the weekend, now you're listening. So I'm sorry, I'm a little bit off topic, but yes, Brian, you are correct. Listening is very important. If you listen right, you often don't even have to answer a question. You can just answer. You can answer the question without having to answer the question, because the question they're asking isn't the real question they want, and that takes a lot of practice. The more you do it, the better off you'll be. So, yes. All right. Let's see here. Yes, Grace goes, listening versus hearing is my goal. 100%. It absolutely is. So I'm going to bug you guys. I know we did a lot of stuff off topic, but I'm happy to. That I left the last hour for Q&A. I thought there'd be more on goal setting, but there isn't. I don't mind. Whatever you guys talk about is fine with me. I'm totally happy. Being live, I do whatever is appropriate. If you like this, click that like button. It does matter. If you are on Twitter, then please retweet this. If you aren't already following me on Sharpe Way Twitter, please go follow me on Sharpe Way Twitter. If you're on Facebook, please follow me on Sharpe Way Facebook. It does matter, so that you click so you get notifications. And if you're on YouTube, please head over to Sharpe Way YouTube, the Sharpe Way YouTube. Subscribe, and when you subscribe, click that bell and go to all notifications to ensure you get notifications that way, to make sure we can grow the Sharpe Way brand out, so that we can have eventually that Fox or that MSNBC for the LP. It would help tremendously. Also, as I ask you every single time, head over to theadvocates.org. Please take one of the surveys. Survey's 6 or 7 minutes long. That's it. That's all it is. 6 or 7 minutes long. Take it, share it so that people see it. You can share it on Facebook. You can share it on Twitter, whatever works. Or take the world's smallest quiz. Or also something else. There is a human respect test. Haven't talked about that one in a while. The human respect test is a very interesting test. Take that test. How do you feel about human respect? And then pass that on and share that out. Also, something good you can do. So please, any of those would help tremendously in pumping the show forward, moving us all forward tremendously. I do thank you all for doing that to the best of your ability. So I guess if I could move forward on yourself, if you want to improve your listening, if that's one of your goals, and I love that goal, it's a great goal. I think I would focus on the idea of, it's not about what the person's saying, it's about why they're saying it. Is that clear? I'm not sure if it is. It's not about what they're saying, it's about why they're saying it. Now go one step further. It's about why they chose certain words. You will hear me often when I talk to people say, you chose that word. Why? You chose that word. Why? What made you choose that word? When you start doing that, you'll start thinking about, okay, what does the person really mean? There's a problem, though, with asking why. When you ask why, people can take it as an attack, right? That's an issue. They can take it as an attack. Why? No. So whenever you use a why, always preface it. You will see me do it all the time when I do my Libertarian Drinking Coffee Live. It's a tactic I use constantly. I often ask people, almost every single show, why they decided to run. But I don't go, why'd you run? It could be attack. Well, you're not good enough. You're smart enough, whatever. So what I say is things like this. There's a lot of ways that you could have made impact, or there are a lot of things you could have done, or you've done something else in the past. I'm curious. Why did you choose to do this? Prefacing is going to assist the landing of your why. Just asking why opens up someone to interpret that you are trying to hurt them, or you're trying to be mean. Prefacing your why softens the blow. So when you're going to ask the why, try to preface it. You want to know why they're saying what they're saying, but preface it. In fact, if you start, to your point, Grace, if you just start asking people why and not answering their questions or interacting with them, they might get upset at you. If you instead said something like, that's an interesting, thing you just said. I'm curious. I mean, there's many things we could have talked about, but you wanted to talk about that. I'm curious. Why did you want to talk about that? You may gain some insight, and now you're giving them more. Oh, let me talk about this, talk about that, talk about this, things can go better and you'll really understand what the person is trying to say. I'm sure you've had this happen to you. You have a conversation and both of you keep talking, but nothing's said. She talks past you and you talk past her. Or you just keep saying the same thing, but saying in a way that seems like you're fighting when you're not actually fighting. I love when people sometimes start with the word no and then say exactly what I was saying. So I would say, well, the car is red and people like red. No, no, people love red and that car is red. It's what I said. But then I go, no, that's exactly what I said. Why are you fighting me? I'm not fighting me. You're fighting you. What? Versus saying, I get it. I'm just kind of curious. Why are you talking about red cars? And I think that's a point that I want to bring up with you, Grace, if that makes any sense. Listening is an important piece to having better communication in general. And it's more about trying to get what someone says versus you talking. If you see, I do several types of shows, right? Do this type of show. This show is me yapping. This show is me yapping, right? My opinions, what I think, me yapping. I do it. And I bring you guys in. That's my listening. So we go back and forth, but this is a show, me yapping. Or I do an interview show, in which case they do most of the talking. Have you guys noticed? My interview shows, they do most of the talking. But I'm very forward with what I'm giving you. I don't do an interview show and say, I'm doing an interview show, but it's about me talking. I don't do that. I do a reaction show. That's about me talking. I do a New Year's special. That's about me talking. I do an interview show. That's about them talking. Two separate things. And at least you know what you're getting. Showing that I can yap away for 3 hours. Yes. Or I can allow someone else to have the spotlight, right? Whatever the case may be, I can move that forward either way. I think it's a very good skill to have. So good luck on that, Grace. If I can help, please let me know. So, yes. Tom says, grow the Sharpe way. I'm trying. I am trying. Absolutely, I'm trying. 100%. Patty says, I took a couple peacekeeper classes, seminars, and workshops during and since 2016. Listening was the number one thing to keeping the peace. Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, yes. I literally do a conflict management course that I teach also. It's about hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, maybe. If you add role play. And we cover the whole deal of how to start the conversations, how to have the tough conversations, how to move forward as either if you're a manager and being and being someone who is like a mediator, or whether you're in it yourself, you're dealing with people. But yes, it is so hard. One of the hardest parts, Patty, is pulling your own emotions out. One of the worst ones. I'm gonna give you something people don't talk about. And I hope they did in your show, in your show, in your class. If you are trying to make peace between two people or two groups, whatever, one of the hardest things to do is for you to not take a side. The problem is you're human and you want to take a side. Like you're like, yeah, well, he's right or he's wrong. Or you want to believe that one or two is right or wrong or more right than the other. It's human nature. That's one of the hardest things to do. Now, how do you do that from the beginning? It's realizing you're a mediator and not a judge. Most people think to mediate, you're a judge. You go in and you're Solomon. You go in and go, okay, who's right, who's wrong? Okay, you're right, you're wrong. You get this. It's Judge Judy. That's not peacekeeping. That's judgment, which is fine. It's a place for judgment, but that's not here. In this one, it doesn't matter who's right. It doesn't matter who's wrong. Wow, was that hard? The best mediators don't care who's right, don't care who's wrong. They're looking for a peaceful solution, regardless of who's right, regardless of who's wrong. If this is done well between individuals, you will often find the person who is the greatest offender actually apologize. That's true. That if you do it right, it happens work, you'll find the person who is the most wrong actually come out and go, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have whatever. They'll actually do that if it's done right. Not always done right. You can't always get it done right. I always say conflict management, not conflict resolution, because to be forward, not all conflicts can be resolved. All can be managed. That's true. All conflicts can be managed. Not all can be resolved. So you manage the conflict to the best of your ability. And the hardest thing is not take a side. Here's the harder part. If you're a manager, to not side with the first person who comes to talk to you. Boy, is that hard, right? If I come to you, Patty, and tell some story, oh, I got to tell you, Grace was mean to me. She said these horrible things. She called me names. She did all in front of everybody. It was terrible. It's natural for you to assume that I'm right, take my side, and think Grace is a bad person. That's human nature. But it may not be true. Grace might not have started anything. I might have started it all and then got scared Grace was going to come to you. So I came to you first and told lies. Maybe, or maybe Grace is a bad person. I mean, who knows? The point is, a good peacekeeper or conflict, management person has to not take a side. Man, is that hard. The goal isn't finding out who's right and who's wrong, but the goal is finding a solution that both people can live with. Boy, is that hard. Yes. So she says, yes, one dark toned lady told about protecting a skinhead woman who was being attacked. Huh. There we go. Look at that. That's tough, right? Yeah. But you got to do it, right? You're trying to keep the peace. And I'm sure she wants to take a side. Of course you do. It is, you're human. You want to. Absolutely. So guys, I've yapped away. Thank you so much for putting up with my yapping. I appreciate it. Guys, as always, please do me a favor. Hit that like button. Follow me on all the specialties. Follow me on Twitter, Sharpe Twitter. Follow me on YouTube, Sharpe YouTube. Click those bells. I appreciate all the time you guys gave me. I want to be clear about something. This is a good time to start something new. It's a good reason to start something new. It's a good time for you, a good excuse to help someone else start something new and make changes personally in your life if you can. Take advantage of it. It's a new year. It can be a new you. Guys, thank you so much. Hope you're enjoying the holiday season. Happy New Year. I will see you all next year.